Is phantombladezero a Souls-like? That is the big question everybody's asking. They apparently have been asked this in interviews. So I wanted to take a look at, number one, the definition of a Souls-like. It's obviously going to be debated by people, and they'll have their own definition. So we're going to have to go with the sort of definition on a wiki that I think is good enough for our purposes. But also we're going to sort of take a look at brand new phantombladezero gameplay that just debuted. It's like 22 minutes, and it is looking really, really good. I was going to cover some other things today, but we thought, let's just look at this gameplay and just kind of talk about it, analyze it. I put out a short. There were some things that really stood out to me that are a little bit more in the action game sort of feel. Doesn't feel like that traditional Souls-like game where you like sneak up on people and give them that classic backstab. And we'll also just be kind of talking about Souls-like fatigue. Charlie Moist Critical, he released a video literally just this morning talking about that, gave his thoughts on Wu Chang. Funny enough, he said so many things about Wu Chang Fallen Feathers that I just highlighted the other day. So it seems like I'm getting a lot of agreement with my thoughts on, getting knocked down, stun lock, the poison, the traps, things of that nature. So if you haven't seen Charlie's video, be sure to check it out. Not that he needs help, but be sure to check it out if you want to see somebody who is kind of largely agreeing with me. But he did speak to the Souls-like fatigue that people are feeling. Feels like every time we turn around, we finish a state of play or we finish a showcase or something, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's at least 3 new games in there that feel like they're going to be more in that Souls-like genre. So first, let's just kind of kick off the video. If you want my reaction to the footage, I'll use a timestamp below so you can kind of see me walking through the footage. I thought we'd kind of open with a discussion, though, about this and, how people are feeling about this new sort of trend that we sort of saw coming after Elden Ring. Many of us kind of predicted and said, that is going to really influence the market. You're going to see a lot of Souls-like games coming out. So the definition that I found, if you just search Souls-like, you can go to the Souls-like wiki page. It is a subgenre of action role-playing games known for high difficulty level, large worlds filled with enemies, and emphasis on environmental storytelling, typically in a dark fantasy setting. So it's not hard to pick out characteristics either that are a little bit more specific. You'll have spots where you rest. That tends to reset the world and the enemies. You'll have world bosses, mini bosses, and named bosses that don't come back. And then you use those resting spots to spend some type of a currency, points, invest in different things, change different things. Wu Chang did this. Even Sekiro, which is not really considered like a Souls-like or a Soulsborne, has an element of that in it. You can get that influence obviously from other games that FromSoft has made, but many people have debated that and said it's not really a Souls-like. But when you see a game with those features, it's natural to think, yep, here comes another Souls-like game where the bosses are big and challenging, the world is punishing and grueling, and I have these, respites, these places where I can rest and get my stuff back. I have a healing thing that'll replenish, my health replenishes, all of that. So I think those are markers you're seeing show up in games, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're setting out to make a Souls game or a Souls-like game. The devs have specifically said that phantombladezero is not exactly a Souls-like game or a traditional action game. This is them saying this. They said maybe it could create a new identity that is wuxia action game. It's spelled wuxia, but I think you're supposed to say it wuxia. Everybody kind of corrects me. I'm not good with some of these pronunciations. Forgive me for that. But they're wanting to chart this new action style game. Now we're going to look at their comments in full after I sort of look at the reaction to the 22 minutes of gameplay. So they do have on Twitter a post with their thoughts on this in full, and I want to look at that after the gameplay footage to see, okay, did we see evidence of what they're saying? There is very clear influence in the footage of hack and slash games like Ninja Gaiden, Devil May Cry. You can also see clear markers and influence from Souls games as well. So we're going to break it all down. This is sort of a new reaction style live show format that we wanted to try because I like reacting to things with you guys, and the live show has been a bit of a confusing thing lately, both on the Purple platform as well as YouTube. Not really sure if it's the platforms themselves. YouTube especially seems to be really experimenting with live environments, and it has caused us some confusion on how exactly we should approach it. We're also doing uploads, we're doing shorts, we're doing posts. So if you see those things in your feed, that's just another opportunity for you to engage in the subject matter, whether it's a poll, whether it's a short, whether it's an upload. We are basically trying to tackle content creation as just sort of a two-man operation and give you about as much content as we can, but we want the content to be high value. And I really do think there's great opportunity sometimes to just grab some gameplay footage and just kind of talk about it and break it down. That's something that I always enjoyed doing when we covered Destiny. We would have like a reveal, a trailer or something, and we would just sort of walk through it. So we'll do that in a while. I kind of want to have the discussion now with the audience just about Souls-likes. Like, why do you think there is fatigue with them? Is it because there's too many? Is it because the genre itself can be pretty grueling? Also, what do you sort of classify? How do you classify a game as a Souls-like or not? There's also Souls-light, right? We get into these discussions sometimes with rogues as well. There's likes with a K, and then there's light, like diet soda or something. So we're going to be discussing that this morning. Make sure if you guys are here in the live environment, you are smashing the like button. That is an enormous help to us, and we already have some people to thank. So Han shot first, and so did you, Joker Quinn, so faithful with that first gifted on a pretty regular basis. And then Raven renews a gifted member for 42 months. I can't count gifteds in the total because that would basically be a double dip. So thank you guys so much for continuing. If you want to get into the behind-the-scenes content, you do need to be at Member Plus or above. That's $6 a month. We're continuing to evaluate that as well. That has been a continued sort of question mark for us, like how we handle memberships and members' content. It doesn't seem to be something that YouTube audience responds well to. So if you guys have ideas or you're seeing other channels that you think do things that you think are better for memberships or members or people that support, leave those comments anywhere. I typically see those comments, or so does my producer. We always are open to feedback on that topic in particular. There really isn't that many Souls-like, says Liquid. Yeah, I mean, Charlie said that he felt like there was already 7 this year. So he said that, that was like 1 a month, which I do think is pretty significant. I also think we have watched a lot of showcases lately where you literally see a big giant enemy and a player going in, and the combat's crazy and frenetic and super punishing, and everyone's just like, well, here comes another Souls-like. Here comes another game in that sort of genre. And I do think people are starting to sense that it is a bit of a, I wouldn't call it a trend chase. I would call it more of the emergence of a trend where it's just people want to make those games. And there was probably a long time where, developers, smaller developers, AA developers, indie like that, where they were probably thinking we couldn't make a game like that. It wouldn't do well. And I think Elden Ring largely changed that, and it made people, I think, maybe more emboldened to make those games because of the overwhelming popularity. So good morning, Raven. Good morning, Skizzy and Cardoc Ren. Good to see you guys over here on Purple. Plenty of people already here on YouTube as well. We're not even 10 minutes in, so let's try to get those first 100 likes. That does help out. If anything's like popping up during the streams, just let me know. I can press a pause button to prevent some of that from happening. So always let me know in the chat when that's going on. It's an action-adventure game, not a Souls-like. I don't know if I would classify phantombladezero as purely action-adventure. They are willing, I think, and we'll look at their commentary in a little while. I don't think even they are shying away from the fact that there is certainly Souls influence. There is Souls elements to their game. I don't necessarily think they're trying to fight against that. I think what they're trying to fight against is like, that's not all that it is. There's very clear influence from more like hack and slash, more action-oriented games where you have like abilities and you have... It was kind of like how Stellar Blade had clear Souls-like and Sekiro influences, and yet it had a lot of those like abilities, more action game-oriented things. But it'd be really hard to argue that the boss fights in Stellar Blade were not heavily influenced by the Souls genre, like these big macabre creatures, and you're fighting them with a sword. and it's really punishing. And when you rest, you get all your stuff back. But when you rest, it resets all the enemies. You know what I mean? It says, I like the upload. Wish you had a chance earlier in the day so we could have discussed it armed with it. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Which upload are you referring to? A lot of games have embraced the trope of bonfires that reset enemies and lose your XP when you die. Even games without combat, very similar to Souls, have those. We'd be talking about the Sony Tencent lawsuit. We decided to push that back by about a day. I feel like anytime something like that happens, within the first 24 to 48 hours, more information comes out. So I certainly want to cover it. I had it booked, and then Creature was like, this footage in this game is kind of heating up, and he knew I was excited about it. I had already posted some footage on Twitter a while ago. That tweet went viral. I think it got like million something views. And so he's like, I think maybe you should just do a reaction, just pull it up, talk about it, read up on it, research it. So I did a little bit of research, looked into what the devs have said, looked into what people had said about the game, and I was like, okay, we can watch a 22-minute video and kind of break it down after we kind of have a discussion. Lona's waiting to see if Tencent goes nuh-uh in their court defense. Yeah, I'm waiting for the classic nuh-uh moment from them. I always want more information. I hate to cover something, and then the day I'm covering it, more information comes out, and you're like, oh, we could have waited on that. There's very little to say just yet other than to outline the details. So we will, I think, commit to covering that. I also have a stream planned that we were going to do Monday where we just sort of look at the state of Destiny and just pull up different clips and different things people are saying, and I'm going to try to give a full breadth picture of where that game currently stands. Sony needs to lose a lawsuit like Nintendo with theirs. Yeah, I'm not going to engage that discussion today. We can have that debate tomorrow if that's indeed what we cover. I think there's a gigantic difference between what Nintendo did and what PlayStation's doing, trying to make those equal. I mean, I feel like some of you guys just have it in for one particular company, and that shades how you look at things. I think there's an enormous difference, but if you can change the difficulty, it's a Souls Light, not a Souls-like. Now, that I don't know if they've spoken to. phantombladezero difficulty options. I don't know. AI says it will, and Reddit is also saying it will. phantombladezero to have 4 difficulty options and second phase boss respawn checkpoint along with repeat boss challenges. This is according to Reddit, where it looks like they're linking to a website where maybe they did an interview. I'm going to have to see if Google can translate this one. Yeah, I don't know. This looks like a forum or something. Let's see if we have something a little bit more official. Okay, we have a Game Rant article here. phantombladezero has 4 difficulty options, okay? It was revealed in an interview it'll offer difficulty options. The hack and slash will also feature several leniencies in its gameplay, such as in boss battles. For example, players won't have to completely restart boss battles in phantombladezero if they've reached a boss's second phase. If defeated, players will start from the farthest phase they managed to get. Now, I actually like this for numerous reasons. There was a fight in Wuchang Fallen Feathers that I really felt like could have benefited from this mechanic in particular, because the second phase of the fight, I had to play it so passive and so safe. It took a really long time, and it just wasn't enjoyable. But I just did not want to go through the first phase again, because the first phase was being really inconsistent, and I was like, okay, I made it to second phase, right? There are games where I don't think it's a requirement, but I totally get why somebody would want this in their game. I also get why somebody would say, well, that makes it very much non-Souls-like. Even in Sekiro, which people don't consider that to be a Souls game, because it isn't. It's got similarities, but it largely isn't, and it's my favorite. Even in that one, I think people would argue if you gave people checkpoints in those boss fights, Ishin especially, the entire fabric of the Ishin fight would change, because it's about endurance. It's about remembering everything. It's about remembering all of the various things they have taught you up to this point. So I don't want a company to lock down mechanics so no one else is allowed to use them. I mean, I've not looked into the lawsuit, but it sounds like neither have you. I do not think that's what they're trying to do. Cloning someone's game and art style and entire basically feel and vibe is not the same as patenting mechanics. I don't think they're trying to lock down or patent mechanics. They would have filed for that. Maybe they are. I don't know. I've not seen evidence that that's what they're trying to do, though. It seems like they're trying to protect their property. Nintendo sort of, yeah, I'm not doing this. If you bring it up, we can't do that. It's so easy for me to get pulled into a debate because I see things being said, and it's like that just isn't true. So, guys, real quickly on YouTube, make sure and smash the like button. You'll have your opportunity to debate with me that another day. You're 5 minutes into a stream, and you're trying to change the subject. Liza P and Kazan, these games are added difficulty settings to Soulslikes. Right, and there are people that really don't agree with that. There are people that feel very strongly about the fact that Liza P added difficulty settings. Kazan shipped, didn't it? No. Wait, yeah, Kazan shipped with difficulty settings because I tried it out day one. And there are people that don't like that. Here is the issue with that frustration point, okay? If you're gonna like enjoy Souls-likes, and up to this point, many people have. Hang on one second. And a 20 bomb from Pathalon Phoenix. He's like, I wasn't here yesterday to go toe-to-toe with MASH, so I got to come in and get my hits now. The man himself, the other kaiju of the community, just dropping bombs on the community. Thank you so much, Pathalon Phoenix. Thank you very much. In the discussion, though, of difficulty settings, here's the thing you have to understand. For the longest time, people have been very adamant that you should not add difficulty settings to Souls games. And in that debate, there were people that were trying to like turn it into an imperative, like, hey, you should add difficulty settings to your game. And then others would push back and say, you should respect the art. Right? You should respect the art. It's what they want to build. You cannot insist on a game having difficulty settings. And I have always agreed with that. Right? I have always agreed with the notion that what is called authorial intent, okay, the intention of the author. If the author intends to write a book and the main character dies halfway through and you hate that, I mean, that was their intention. That's what they wrote. And you could be critical of that from a pacing, aspect or whatever, from a story writing aspect. You could be critical of it and say how much it hurt the story. But again, that was their intention, okay? When you come to a video game, same thing. There is authorial intent. They intended to make a game where there is no difficulty setting at all. Now, I remember in Armored Core, people got really angry that Baltius had been nerfed because they looked at fail rates and they determined that the fight was not functioning in the way that they probably had intended. I think that's evidenced by the fact that they changed the fight. I don't think they envision certain bosses being these steep skill checks. Skill checks exist in these games. They do. You'll be playing a game, and all of a sudden, you're like, I've hit a wall, right? For many people, it is Madame Butterfly in Sekiro. For others, it was Baltius in Armored Core, and they felt that it was too steep. They nerfed it for YouTubers and streamers reviewing it. You don't know that. There's no way for you to know that. And secondly, they don't strike me as the kind of company that's like, oh no, YouTubers are complaining and reviewers are complaining, we better change our game. You should see the absolute absurd amount of documentaries made about people that didn't like Elden Ring, the second half of Elden Ring, people that didn't like Erdtree. They didn't seem to respond to any of that. And there are tons of videos, okay, out there like that about those games. And I don't think FromSoft doesn't strike me as a company that does that, okay? More than likely, they looked at the numbers and said, fail rates are higher than we think they should be. We're going to tone this fight down, okay? You could debate upside one down the other whether or not they should have done it or they did it too much or whatever. Your birthdays today, go crazy, chat. Guys, True SSJ Havoc is acting for a crazy day on his birthday. You guys know what we do for birthdays around here. Stone Spire's going to gift a member. I know what Stone Spire's going to do. He's going to do 2 singles. He's going to bump the line to 180. He's begging, well, not begging. He's baiting for the 20 bombs. True SSJ Havoc's begging. He's like, hey, come on, guys. It's my birthday. Go crazy. I'm not the one begging. Yeah. There we go. It's a 180. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. Mr. Stonespire, he's been baiting these 20 bombs so faithfully lately. Somebody bless this man's setup. Eugene says, I dislike that they nerfed him, but it had nothing to do with reviewers or YouTubers. Yeah, there were people that thought they shouldn't have nerfed him. They liked that he was a skill check. They liked that, he was this kind of, as TJ Love is saying, it was a gut check. We sing happy birthday, right? Thank you. No, I don't sing happy birthday. Thank you, Jack Garland. Let me set the super chat goal as well. Every 5 super chats, I will gift a member. And I owe you guys 2 from yesterday that I forgot to do, so hold me to that. I owe you 2 from Super Chats yesterday. I didn't actually do those. I did the 10 on the premiere, and I forgot to do the 2. So let's try to we'll add those up and maybe do a 5 or whatever. They cried so much then. Well, sometimes, TJ Love, YouTubers can sort of be the signal flare in the sky to let everybody know there's a problem, right? If you have a bunch of people saying, hey, what the heck is this all about? Like, as an example, Moist Critical, Charlie, makes a video about Soulslike fatigue, and in it, he kind of reviews Wu-Chang. He kind of baked his review about Wu-Chang into it, and he said so many of the things that I had said. Now, him talking about the fact that the enemies knock you down and you cannot get up fast enough, and it commonly in boss fights just leads to a death because you're just laying there, and you end up getting back up into an existing attack that's coming, or if you lay there, and decide to wait, they're going to hit you anyway. Now, his ability to draw attention to that, and a 5-bomb comes in from Purple Haze as True SSJ Havoc is berating chat. He's like, come on, let's get started. He's like, where are all the members here? He's scolding you guys. So that would be 28. I left out his over there. Thank you very, very much. Purple Haze, appreciate you. So Charlie drawing attention to that could get a lot of people in the comments saying, yes, that was irritating. I hated that. It ruined some of the boss fights. And then the developers might say, oh, I mean, we've got people complaining about, optimization issues. There's yes, I added Stone Spire. I added the members from the upload. I did. Thank you. You and Mash both did members during the upload, and I opened up OBS and I added them. So if I go into these fights and I'm saying that and you're saying that and we're all saying that, but then somebody with like Charlie's size and reach says it has maybe. You didn't miss Mario Kart. We actually didn't unlock it last week. They got to like 700. You got to get if I'm going to do a Saturday night stream with Madam, it has to be we got to go double. 500s for Friday night, another 500 for Saturday. I think that's reasonable. That's kind of like our weekly date night, right? And we, you guys want to do a Mario Kart community game, that's what we need, and a VIP renewal from Butters. So him drawing attention to it has the increased likelihood of it getting in front of the developers. It has the increased likelihood of it getting in front of people that are going to say, oh, hey, that's a serious problem if that's happening. Maybe they don't know. Maybe it's intentional, right? Maybe that's what they want those fights to do. They're like, no, if you get knocked down, sorry, it's overly punishing. Like, they just kind of stand by it. So I do think sometimes like YouTubers and reviewers can help draw attention to significant trouble or problems. Joker Quinn with the 50 bomb and adds me. I don't think... No. Joker Quinn's a single gifted man. If you guys are trying to summon the 50 bombs, Souls Lake. Not a Souls Lake, a Souls Like. A Souls Like. So the debate right now is about whether or not these games should add difficulty settings. So phantombladezero is a game coming out. We are going to be doing a reaction to like 22 minutes of footage here in a little while. But one of the things that people, are kind of taking issue with is, well, you can't call it a Souls-like if it's got these difficulty settings in it, right? I actually think there's not necessarily a reason to limit the use so much. Like if you go and play Kazan or you play this game when it comes out, you're clearly going to see those Souls-like influences. But even the developers are saying it's not exactly a Souls-like. So I think even they're sort of saying this isn't a term that's going to like fit specifically around our game. You're going to have to play it, obviously, to see, but there's a pretty significant amount of, Kung Fu influence. There's hack and slash influence. There's just basic action game influence as well. Like the stealth takedowns don't look like a traditional takedown from like a Souls game. It looks like something out of like a stealth game. Like he literally is like creeping up behind a guy and like snaps his neck, right? That's not very Souls-like. You usually go up behind somebody and like stab them. You calling phantombladezero Souls-like? No, I'm not. There's a simple and distinct feature of Souls games: bonfire, souls, and respawning enemies. They're character games that are overly punishing. Right, but there are games that have these features that we don't call Souls-likes. We would say there's Souls-like or Souls-light influences in like a Jedi Fallen Order or a Jedi Survivor or even Sekiro. We would say there's clear influence of that mechanic, but they would not be classified by many people as like a Souls-like game. Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor have difficulty settings. They're far more forgiving than, now obviously if you turn the difficulty all the way up in Jedi, I mean, it's going to be pretty tough, right? I went to the second highest difficulty and it was pretty hard. Not quite as hard as like a Sekiro or something. Yo, it's good feed. I see you in the chat. So, I would say that the term, sometimes it would make more sense to say either light with a T, as Eugene is doing with Jedi, like a Souls light. And when we say Souls light, I think we're trying, at least what I would be trying to do, is we're trying to communicate that there are some influences, there's some elements, but it's not the entirety of the game. The crux of the game is not to be like a Jedi Souls game. Souls-like games contain multiple overlapping elements, no one single thing, but many, also the theme. Right. Well, and I think, too, I think sometimes we really limit ourselves. Like, you wouldn't look at phantombladezero and be like, it's hack and slash, and, that's all you say, right? It's clearly influenced by Ninja Gaiden and Devil May Cry. It's hack and slash. Well, people would say, well, hang on a minute. That's really narrow, right? There's a lot more going on in the game, isn't there? So I do think that sometimes we need to just speak with respect to influence. There's a definite Souls influence. There's some Souls mechanics in there, but there's also action game influence. There's clear influence from hack and slash games of old, and that's what they're trying to channel. I mean, they've even said that in interviews. They've also spoken to influence of Kung Fu. Maybe it's time for firmware level save states. Allow gamers to save whenever they want. May help busy gamers get over a hump and cut short on playtime. I did forget that games like this you can't pause. I was playing Wu Chang one day and the kiddos kept coming in and asking me stuff, and the timing, it was literally like a prank TV show. I would be on a run back to the boss. I'd be running all the way back to the boss. They're not coming in. They're not coming in. They're not coming in. The minute I would walk through the fog wall and start the fight, they'd come in. They did it 3 times in a row, and I was like, guys, just hang on. I can't pause the game. If you come in, please just wait. Don't be like, Papa, 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 because I can't pause the game. The first couple times I was I just let my character die. I was like, well, I just got here. What's up? What you need? But the third time I was just hang on a minute. I was hang on a minute. I can't pause the game. I had a really good open. I had a really good open in the fight, and I didn't want to throw it away, because sometimes an open leads to good rhythm, and you kind of get into the pocket of the fight. So I think, at a general level, having the debate and the discussion about a Souls-like is helpful, because not being able to pause, incredibly punishing world, incredibly punishing boss fights, save points where the world resets. As someone just said, well, why couldn't we just do firmware level save states anytime we want? It would really change the fabric of a game. It would really change the fabric of a game. My wife and I just last night tried some Returnal again. I was she wasn't feeling Donkey Kong because she's just kind of along for the ride and spamming. I actually think Donkey Kong plays better as a single-player game. I don't think the co-op works because she's almost like a cheat code. We've literally gone into rooms and I'm okay, this is going to be a challenge. She's just bam, 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 and she just shoots everything. It's like having a 50 cal on your shoulder. So we went and tried some Returnal. And here's the thing. If you could just save it anytime you wanted in Returnal, it would change the entirety of the game. The entire fabric of Returnal would not be the same. it wouldn't feel the same, the pain points, the difficulty, all of that, right? Now, they do let you do checkpoint, but the checkpoint gets erased the minute you go back in. You cannot manufacture the potency of going into a boss fight and being like, if I die, it's all over. The elation you feel when you do it, the fear that you feel while doing it, there's so much potency, right? It sounds like she carries you. She 100% does, but it really nullifies so much of the game. Like going into a challenge room where you're supposed to like kill the enemies as fast as you can, and then you get a banana, and she can just literally just like, and like I'm not even a part of the game. I'm just like this, like, you know, I'm like lumbering along with a 50 cal on my back. So maybe we need to go back to it and just be like, all right, let's try to have more of a blend here, more of a chill. Because when I'm playing by myself, it's super fun. Like you're climbing, you're solving, you're figuring out how to get through certain areas. Her ability to shoot like that just obliterates everything, bosses especially. And so we went back to Returnal, and we got to Frike, and we failed. I got Frike down to like almost dead. We got through all 3 phases, and on the 3rd phase, you know, we died. And I think that if you were able to just save at any time you want, that would be, I think, a significant detriment to the game. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about PhantomBladeZero gameplay. I'm going to be doing a reaction to it in about 30 minutes. So we're just talking about Souls-likes. Like, what is a Souls-like? When should we use the term? When should we not? Is it okay for Souls-like games to have difficulty settings? Because PhantomBladeZero is going to have difficulty settings. First Berserker Kazan shipped with difficulty settings. Lies of P added the difficulty settings later. I'm curious if you guys have a theory on why that's happening. PhantomBladeZero is not a Souls. It's an action game with Souls level design. It seems like the combat has some Souls influence as well. Not as much influence as maybe the hack and slash and the kung fu. But there is a bit of influence there. If you look at some of the way that they handle like the parries and the enemy movement and stuff, there's definite influence. It's really hard to say it's a Souls-like when the developers themselves are like, it's not. But on the surface, somebody might think that it is. They might just see a couple trailers and be like, yo, that looks like an amazing Souls-like. Because difficulty for the sake of it doesn't appeal to the average person, says Siryu. The question isn't, is it Souls? The question is, does it have heart? Different settings for more sales. Okay, that's a good theory. This is what I think. This is why I think difficulty settings are coming to these games. Okay. I think you have different studios making these games, and at a foundational level, they're like, we can bake that in. That's not something that we're either unfamiliar with or unwilling to do. I think at a ground level, it's more about their ability to do it than like, well, it'll maximize sales. I do think there's a commercial aspect to it. I do think they're like, listen, we could appeal to more people. The minute you don't have difficulty settings, a lot of people are going to nope the frick out. Like Lies of P adding it after the fact is really interesting. Like I really, really wonder, did Lies of P see a broader audience pick up their game because of the art direction and the unique feel of the game, but then they felt like they lost a lot of people that didn't roll credits because they just felt like, you know, I'm stuck or whatever. Like I got stuck on Swamp Monster and was like, I'm just not in the mood for this. You know, I'm kind of old man status now. My patience isn't what it once was. I'm just like, it's not fun. I'm out. Right? And I get that people don't like that. People are critical of that. But like, gaming is here to serve me. I'm not here to serve gaming. So if a game isn't fun, buddy, I'm bouncing. Right? I am bouncing quick. I did that with Ender Lilies. Ender Lilies was good. Ender Magnolia was far superior, and it literally came down to how they allowed you to dodge. And Ender Magnolia solved that problem. It was a criticism of the first game. I put down the first game. I loved the second game, and I rolled credits. So I don't know if it's purely commercial, though. I wonder if at a foundational level, like the PhantomBladeZero developers were like, yeah, we can totally do that. We can design the world, the enemies, and the bosses around having difficulty settings. Like First Berserker Kazan, same deal. I don't think it's probably as nuanced or as finessed in Lies of P because they added it after the fact. What's good, Light Leap? I think adding it after the fact is different. There were people that were more critical of that. Like, since it wasn't there in the beginning, it feels like a bit of a sucker punch to people who beat the game without those options available. And now somebody can come behind, get the same achievements, claim the same victory, and they played a very different game than you. Like the fact that I went back and beat the swamp monster, and it's like, I didn't beat the same swamp monster you did. And I'm totally okay with the game noting that. That doesn't bother me in the least. Like if you have like a different list of achievements. The problem is with a different list of achievements for normal, medium, or hard is then when someone wants to platinum, I'm assuming that would mean then they'd have to like beat the entire game on that new difficulty. If you guys are just tuning in, make sure and smash the like button. If you want to talk in my chat, you do need to subscribe. If you subscribe, you can come back throughout the week. I do a live show like this all the time, and we are doing discussions and breakdowns and things about the gaming industry and games coming out. I am also safe for work. And when you hit that like button, it helps more people find the video. We are going to be reacting to the phantombladezero gameplay in about 25 minutes. I'm going to kind of put that further into the show. Right now, we're just debating when you should and shouldn't use Soulslike. Should any game that aligns itself with the Soulslike style or influence have difficulty settings? The top difficulty would auto-complete the lower levels. Oh, that's true, Hilly. I guess you could do that. Beating a higher difficulty could unlock the lower difficulty achievements. Yes, you could have achievements that say beat it on hard and all other difficulties. And then when I beat it on easy, it's a separate difficulty that I don't get the other ones, right? Souls has the same problem, says AOZ. Once the game is out for a while, people can research to undermine the challenge. I think there's a distinct difference between somebody researching to undermine the challenge and the difficulty and somebody basically just saying, well, I'm going to set it to easy, and it's going to make the boss weaker. It's going to make me stronger. Like, that's put in there by the developers. I think that is different. Introducing difficulty settings takes away from the whole point that makes a Souls game, overcoming the impossible. With Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, one of the things that I learned playing through it is that it's really difficult, for me especially, and you guys might be different than me on this. I have a very difficult time slicing annoyance with the way something's designed and something that's a legitimate criticism, right? Like, there are some bosses and even some enemies in Wu Chang that I find very annoying. They're very spammy, okay? Is there legit criticism of those enemies? I don't know. We'd have to break them down. We'd have to literally look at their animation sets, their telegraphs, their movement, and say, is the player afforded enough opportunity to mitigate and put out damage, right? One of the things people commonly complain about in any of the videos you see that were critical of Elden Ring is that punish windows were too small and enemies could just, combo to their heart's content. And people found that to be very, they were critical of that. And a lot of it comes down to not even a criticism of like, well, is the mechanic bad, poorly designed, or not good? It's, is it fun? Is it fun to dodge 85 moves in a row and then I get to swing my sword once? I'm being hyperbolic, right? But I also think there's a difference between this enemy is annoying and this mechanic isn't working properly. Like, Moist Critical highlighted it. I highlighted it the other day when I showed you guys Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. I was like, look, I said this happens commonly in boss fights. Like, virtually every boss has a knockdown attack where if they hit you with it, you get knocked down. And you cannot get up. You just lay there for a very long time. And then when you do get up, it tends to be a stun lock. Like, you literally go to get up and there's an attack coming in that you can't mitigate and you die. So it's sort of a death sentence, right? So I would argue that's bad design. You're taking one mistake where, oops, I misread that. You knocked me on the ground. Okay. Now I'm in the position to course correct. Keep a cool head, get back up, wait for good healing windows or good punish windows, what have you. But I'm not afforded that opportunity. You just sort of kill me anyway. That, I think, is like, that's when it's difficult for me. Like, I need to slice and be patient and say, am I doing this incorrectly? Are my presumptions incorrect? Or is the game designed in a way that should be fixed? You use magic on that commander boss in Wu Chang. Magic is always OP. I actually found Deflect to be incredibly useful against her. There were some magic abilities that were really nice because you could punish her at range just like she punished you at range. I didn't find any of my magic abilities, though, to be good for the things that she would do. Once she closes gaps, once she closes space, I found Deflect to be far more efficient than any magic. Those things allow you to circumvent having to know all boss mechanics, so even From doesn't force you to commit to getting to know the boss fight. Magic murders some of the bosses. I haven't really used much magic, and I'm like 40% through or 36% through or whatever. I think 39. I can't remember. You have to spec into feathering. Oh. Jermaine says, we don't want difficulty settings in our Souls games. If you can't hack the challenge, then there are other games for you to play. It's not rocket science. Now, Jermaine, when you say that, what's your opinion on a game shipping with difficulty settings, and it's just their prerogative? It's how they want, like, let's say First Berserker Kazan or phantombladezero gameplay, we're going to be looking at shortly, it's shipping with difficulty settings. That's just their choice. It's not a FromSoft game. It's not. They're not even saying it's a Souls-like. They're saying it's not exactly a Souls-like. It sort of is in a middle ground. A good Souls game is not just combat, says P. Dudley. It's the level design, world building, environmental storytelling. But the conversation always ends up at combat. Yeah, respecking for free in Wu Chang is one of its best features. If only one of the attacks does this, I think it's working as intended. Everything hurts except this attack kills, and falling over is really just dragging that out. Yeah, but a lot of times the knockdowns aren't even that. They don't even do that much damage. They don't. It's just that they immobilize you. I think immobilizing the player in most cases, like ice, stun, knockdown, things like that. If you have one fight where that happens and you just kind of have to eat around that frustration, okay, but like that's a facet of Wu Chang, is that you just lay on the ground for far too long. In most games where they knock you on the ground, you can hit dodge at the right moment and kind of roll away and get some iframes and kind of reset. This game doesn't do that. You just kind of get up and you're just vulnerable. Nobody's suggesting Souls games should be watered down. They just want the option for difficulty settings to be there. It changes nothing for those who prefer to play at harder settings. I approach this on both sides equally. If a game studio doesn't want to put difficulty settings, I fully support them in that. That is their choice. It is their game. It's their vision for the world, the enemies, the bosses. On the other side of this coin, if somebody wants to put difficulty settings in their game, I fully support them doing that. It's their game. It's their vision. It's what they want for world, enemy, and boss difficulty. I won't speak for everyone, says Lone Wolf, but as someone who does love Souls-likes, I don't care whether or not there are difficulty features. I just play whatever the devs put down for me. The difference is between challenging and just being punishing, because that's the trend in these games. Yeah, I mean, even the Wu Chang devs admitted that, like, the mines were a bit overkill in the one environment. Guys, really, really quickly, let's try to get to 200 likes on YouTube. We're getting a pretty good turnout today. We don't typically do streams like this. I'd like to start doing streams like this where we just take a game, a topic, and we react to the gameplay. It gives you guys a great place to discuss something, and then we also get a chance to look at some gameplay and kind of break it down, which is something I really enjoy doing with you guys. If you like this kind of content, best way to get more of it is to support it. So be here when we do these. Hit subscribe, hit the bell button, hit the like button. Be sure to use the Discord, because YouTube can get funny and not put the videos in front of you, and the Discord will always ensure you get notified. Bender says, I agree with you, Lono. I may have worded it poorly, but yes, I'm in full support of devs making their games however they choose. Now, would you guys reject, because the developers of phantombladezero have said it's not a Souls-like exactly. So they're conceding that that's not really the goal of the game, to be like a Souls-like. There's obviously Souls influence. What if a game came out and says, yep, we're a Souls-like, but they have difficulty settings? Is that to you a no, like a categorization? Are they miscategorizing their game if they say they're a Souls-like and yet they have difficulty settings? Because as an example, First Berserker Kazan in Steam says it's a hardcore action role-playing game. Now, it has the tag Souls-like, but that's popular user-defined tags. They didn't put that tag there. So I don't know if Kazan has ever classified itself as a Souls-like. I think they say it's a hardcore action role-playing game. It's an action game. It's an action game. It's said multiple times on their Steam page. No need to gatekeep, says Civ. Just give people who play on the hardest level a special trophy and achievement. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that at all. It is if you should get more achievements when you beat it on hard. If I beat a game on easy, I should get less achievements than you. I think that's totally legitimate. I think you should have more trophies than me at the end when we roll credits. Eugene says, I disagree that it changes nothing. It's time spent crafting the other difficulties instead of focusing on the main game. It also changes the culture around that game and community. Lone Wolf says, I would also say a game is still a Souls-like if it has the options. Like Lies has them now, it's still a Souls-like. Do you guys agree with what he's saying? Do you agree? And double check that it's saving your like count. Sometimes it doesn't save your like the likes didn't really move, and that sometimes means it's doing that weird thing. I'm going to check my own right now. I'm going to like the video, and then I'm going to refresh. Let's all make sure it's doing that. Do you guys agree with what he's saying? Is Lies of P, in your mind, is it still a Souls-like? They came to it after launch and added difficulty settings. And like what Eugene is saying, Eugene would probably argue that really changes the shared experience, because now people are going to roll credits on Lies of P, and they're going to have no idea what it was like to beat, Swamp Monster or, the Puppet King or whatever his one name was, or people were getting stuck. They are going to have no idea what it was like to beat that at normal difficulty. I'm not compelled by arguments around difficulty mode, says PG Creamy. Developer intent is paramount. If From added difficulty setting to Elden Ring, would it no longer be Souls? Souls is not just difficulty. So yeah, PG Creamy seems to think that you could add a difficulty setting to Elden Ring and it would still be a Souls game. Didn't this happen a while ago, or did they announce it a while back? Just do it recently. Lies of P added the difficulty settings when the DLC came out, or shortly before. I can't remember the exact timing. Somebody in chat might have to correct me. It was my understanding that the difficulty settings were going to ship with the Lies of P DLC. Now, phantombladezero is going to ship with difficulty settings in the same way that First Berserker Kazan shipped with difficulty settings. Like, out of the box, there's difficulty settings. And Kazan did not say it was a Souls-like, and phantombladezero is saying we're not exactly a Souls-like. There's obviously influence, but it's not a Souls-like game. It's in the gameplay style, says Adam King. Hard-hitting enemy, focus on avoiding parrying attacks, save points to build your character, etc. Eugene says won't play Lies of P ever again because of that. Were you planning on playing it, or had you played it, Eugene? The culture thing is a good point. Elden Ring made its name and its sales from the culture created around its difficulty. This is true. You don't get a Kai Cenat, stream tour de force, if Elden Ring had difficulty settings. Now, maybe you do, because he could have said, I'm going to play all these games on hard, or I'm going to play all these games on whatever. But, see, you have to understand the spectacle of Kai beating Elden Ring is intrinsically linked to the fact everybody watching has either beat the game and experienced those fights, or they have the opportunity to. And they could share in the experience. And you take that away if you can boot up Elden Ring and go, gimme easy. Like, you're not feeling the same thing. Now, somebody might say, but you can spec and you can build and you can grind and you can make a lot of those fights easy. This is true. However, that was a choice made by that player within the rules of the game itself. Like, Kai could have done the same thing. Like, you go in to fight Margit and you get your head caved in and you're like, well, I'm going to go grind and level and make myself stronger, and I've seen some guide videos and some builds or whatever. You're still rubbing up against that friction point, that rough edge of the game, and trying to solve it. It's not like a rough edge, like a flaw, But it's like, this is a puzzle for you to solve. V-Game Veteran with the 5 bomb of members. Thank you so much. True SSJ Havoc was asking for memberships to go crazy on his birthday. And if you guys don't remember, we helped him out a while ago with a GoFundMe for some funeral expenses. And we appreciate him coming back around and just sharing the good vibes and encouraging people to support. Appreciate you, True SSJ. You've always been generous to the channel. It's 100% a cultural thing. I don't think Souls games would be popular if it wasn't for their difficulty. It would also be less interesting to watch someone play on easy mode. What's interesting is when I played Sekiro and Dark Souls 3, like my first run through, I got more interest and more viewership than when I played Elden Ring. It was like my third attempt, and we were doing a no summons run. Like, nobody cared because it was like, no summons isn't that difficult, you know. You're just doing a no summons run, right? People like to watch someone do, you know, no hit level 1 naked run, you know. That's what folks are looking for. They're looking for the heat. They're looking for the challenge. And I get it. I've seen the footage of guys going crazy. I've seen the footage of players really, really stretching themselves to do something that seems almost impossible. They were initiation runs into a shared community. Yeah, and I think sometimes people think it's gatekeeping, but are there versions of gatekeeping that are good? You know? Are there versions of gatekeeping that are good? It's like, listen, this is a shared thing. This is a culture and a community, and this is what they like. This is what they prize. You want to be a part of it. This is what's asked of you to be a part of this thing. Like, if you want to play Elden Ring, if you want to beat Sekiro, I think there can be healthy forms of gatekeeping if the gatekeeping is intended to protect the integrity of something as well as protect the shared experience of others. There is actually, I think, a good reason to do that, to say, no, we don't want this to be changed. This is something that makes this experience and this shared experience and culture special. You know, now that gatekeeping can turn toxic, and you can basically be unhelpful, tell people to get good, say that they're a scrub, say that they suck, tell them, you know, go play kiddie games, whatever. I think in general, my experience with the Souls community, as all gaming communities, it has its own toxicity, it has its own breed of it, but generally speaking, they were always very helpful. When I played through Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro, they were helpful. They were always like, oh, do this, do that. Now, sometimes they would even say, is it okay if we give you a hint or a clue, blah, 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 blah. Because sometimes I'd be like, can I even get over there right now? Like, that's the one thing I let for backseat gaming. I'm like, can I even get over there right now? And if someone in chat's like, no, you got to come back and do that later, I'm always like, thank you. I don't want to sit here and waste my time coming to that conclusion that, like, I can't even get over there. I don't like, though, when people are like, turn left, go up the stairs, open the chest, it's secret, behind it there's a really strong sword, right? The Claymore meme that we dealt with for so long. It was like, get the Claymore, get the Claymore, get the Claymore. And it's like, can I just experience the game, right? But I found them to be very helpful when I was playing through, you know, Sekiro, and when I was playing through Dark Souls 3. When we got into Elden Ring, I think it definitely got a little bit more contentious because I was way more critical. I was now sort of like somebody that was approaching the game with experience, and I took issue with, and I'm in good company. There are like lengthy documentary-sized videos made about why the second half of Elden Ring is disappointing for a lot of people. I don't necessarily think that I'm right and others are wrong, but I do feel there's a definite shift and turning point in that game in the second half that I find to be unappealing. I like the opening. I think the opening is like perfect. With phantombladezero, we're going to look at the gameplay here in about 6 minutes. It's 22 minutes of gameplay, and I want to kind of break it down with you guys. The point is that you're challenging yourself. It's not the same as the game having a slider. There are people out there doing no-hit Wukong runs. That's not a difficulty. That's a manufactured challenge. I always enjoyed overcoming that challenge as El Duderino. If there's a build crafting, I want to use the tools in the game to overcome the challenge. I could care less if people want an easy mode to experience it. Let's try and get 30 more likes on the video before I pull up the gameplay footage and we take a peek at it. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's so funny because whenever I ask people their favorite boss, it's usually a boss from the second half of the game. Yeah, that's where some of the more iconic fights preside, you know, Melania. And then, I mean, some of the more criticized fights are back there, like Malekith and the Elden Beast. Or the one dragon fight that I loved, Placidu Sax, or whatever the frig his name is. I loved it, and a lot of people hated it. And then there's like the one gimmick fight. Is that second half too, the gimmick fight? Malekith's a fan favorite. Malekith is also the one that gets criticized a lot. In all the videos I watched, Malekith comes up a lot. People hate him. People love him. I hated him. I hated him, man. He was so spammy. He irritated the fire out of me. He really did. The second version of Margit, I think, was my favorite. I think that was my favorite on my No Summons run. I really, really liked the feel of it, especially because I had people saying, you can't play him this way, because I was trying to break his posture, and they're like, you can't play it this way. And like my 7th attempt, I busted him up. It felt so good. You hope they're working on a Sekiro too? I hope they never make a sequel to Sekiro. I don't want it to be turned into that. I know that's weird. As like a huge fan of Sekiro, it's like my favorite. I do not want them to do that. I think it should just kind of stand as a classic standalone. You know, over time, I think that's the best thing for it. All right. In 4 minutes, we're going to check out the gameplay here. phantombladezero gameplay. If you guys ever get any disruptions of the stream, let me know. I can pause certain things, but thank you for being here. Thank you for being here on both platforms, by the way. If you're watching on Purple, hit the follow button. That's the heart button. Use your Prime subs. You can always check your Prime. You need to do that manually every month. Even if you watch on YouTube, you got to use those Primes, and they're manual every month. We are doing a big push before I go out of town next week. We're trying to unlock 2 streams this week, which is a Friday night and a Saturday night, so you can help with that, with gifteds, with re-ups, with primes, with upgrades. I love a difficult game if there's a power fantasy. God of War Ragnarok is the closest example I can think of. Would Oblivion be a Souls-like if they added a dodge roll? No, I don't think so. Good morning, games we love. What's interesting, too, is sometimes if you go into games that aren't designed to be super difficult, if you crank the difficulty, they actually can be extremely difficult. Like, if you play a game that's designed to be difficult, it's like, it's almost designed to be solved, if that makes sense. But when you play, like, Give Me God of War, I mean, I've seen the footage. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, I don't think I would enjoy that at all. Sometimes I think games that aren't designed to be difficult are more difficult when you crank the difficulty settings. Does that make sense? It's almost like, yeah, this wasn't really designed with this in mind. You know what I mean? Like, I think some people have even been critical of that. Was it 2018 that people were critical of? Like, Give Me God of War? I think that was the one where people were critical of it. And it makes sense, you know. It makes sense. You're going to have people that go in thinking, oh, this is going to be fun. I like hard games. And then it has, like, you know, settings and things that don't necessarily make for conducive gameplay. You know, it can be kind of frustrating. Not gonna lie, Give Me God of War is just BS. That one below that's a sweet spot. Horizon is surprisingly difficult on its hardest level. It's not surprising. It really isn't. If you guys remember, it was one of my criticisms of the Grandmaster Nightfalls in Destiny. It's content that's not designed to be played in that way. In its original inception, you know, I would say that game was not, the Nightfalls especially, I'm sorry, the Strikes, they were just not originally designed to be like that. They weren't. I like the Berserker fights from God of War. There are no fights in God of War to me that were like super duper memorable, but I just liked being in the world. I like Kratos. I like the story. I like the moment to moment combat. Throwing the axe, running, grabbing the axe back, jumping, slamming, I liked those aspects. I'll never forget in God of War 2018, dodging the Valhalla stomp, triggering my perfect dodge proc, and still getting hit by the stomp. Chef's kiss. Gotta find that clip of the Dark Souls speedrunner who rage quit Monster Hunter Rise because low rank Kezu was, quote, too hard. Well, sometimes your skill set in speedrunning Souls isn't going to translate into other games, you know what I'm saying? All right, I'm going to pull up the video now, guys. Quickly, if you have not hit it, it's being weird again. That light count's been real funky. I think YouTube made a change again on the front end. I don't know if they're trying to combat that. I don't know if they're trying to combat that extension or what, but they're acting really, really weird with likes lately. So let's take a look at this. I'll give you guys some sound. There's a couple of things to notice about this game, and one of them is the abilities used in combat. So I'm fairly certain that is not his primary weapon. As you see here, he uses just basically that's a chained execution. We'll see that a couple of times. If you execute one, another one's nearby, you hit triangle. But he pulls out this large weapon that, as I understand it, that is a boss weapon that uses itself like an ability. Like, you can't just pull out the boss weapon and use it all the time. It's like an ability. I love the spear steel. So right there, right there. So he triggers some kind of an ability. I believe it seems like if the indicators are making sense, he does a red attack that's maybe an unblockable. So you have to trigger a grab. That's what it looks like to me. See? So he goes ghostly underneath the hit. He goes underneath, comes up, grabs it, and then uses it against him, which I freaking love. But the red indicator to me, it's kind of like if you've played Lies of P, it's like when there's the big red attacks that you have to perfectly block. I wonder if it's like the Mikri. I wonder if it's like the Mikri in Sekiro, where once you see that red flash, you know, I've got to do my ability. We need to go through this really slow here, and I need to get out of the way so we can do like an actual breakdown of what we're looking at. So right here you can see White Serpent and Crimson Viper. So it looks like we've got two primary weapons and two phantom edges. I believe the phantom edges are those boss weapons. I could be incorrect. If anybody's seen another breakdown that has outlined that, because I do think we see later on, like once you beat, Spoken Like a Tennessee Man. Yeah, the Mikri. Anyways, I believe these are earned from bosses. And again, I think they're like abilities. I don't think you can just like use them anytime. So on this primary weapon, which is the White Serpent and the Crimson Viper, you can kind of see them on the back. It looks like we have like a longer sword and like a shorter sword. You can see here we've got some combos here. So, square, triangle, or reverse it, go triangle, square. You throw the shorter sword out as a projectile weapon at the end of a combo. It can execute near-death targets from afar. It looks like there's other things you can do. Hang on. Let's go back. Okay, so that's fine. We can go into looking at this. So this is the Jagged Steel, and it fills up the target's bleeding meter with each hit. Excessive bleeding will trigger hemorrhage. This is a familiar mechanic we've seen in other games, obviously. So a weapon that can, over time build up that bleed. And then it looks like L2 is going to have overwhelm the target with a storm of frenzy attacks. Could trigger hemorrhage. It costs 1, whatever that is, like a little purple cloud. So more than likely, this is going to be something that you earn throughout the fights. This was something that they did in, Wu Chang. Every perfect dodge gives you like the Skyborn Might. And then there's something very, very similar. There's something very similar in Wukong as well. Like your dodges reward you with like filling a little meter thing. I'm not familiar with. I can't remember what it was called. I'm a fan of these games, but it seems like that's all that's been coming out. I mean, Moist Critical literally did a video just today about Souls Fatigue, and then he reviewed Wu Chang. This is not a Souls-like. This is going to borrow from a lot of different games. I think this game could be very special. There's influence of Devil May Cry, Ninja Gaiden, the classic hack and slash, but there's also Souls influence. There's also Kung Fu influence. So I do think this game could be a breath of fresh air. We're just going to, see, this is why I like to do these freeze frames. So here's a Sanguine a weapon. This looks like some kind of a long sword or like a great sword. Like, look how long the handle is. Launch a quick succession of tumbling attacks. It costs 1 of whatever that currency is. That's an L2. So this is going to be maybe a little bit more of an aerial type of weapon. And then we have, it looks like the Sanguine Twin. So this is going to be 2, which they look awesome. Launch a dazzling combo at elevated speed. Okay, so that's going to be like a more speed, less acrobatic and more speedy. So here's Sanguine Reach. So it looks like within certain weapons, there's going to be different versions of them. So like the Sanguine, we've got like maybe the normal version, and then we have like the dual swords version, and then this looks like it's going to be like maybe the longer, like the Odachi in Yote. Launch a series of wide swings, making use of the weapon's additional reach and weight. So it's got increased weight. It's got weight and reach, which is obviously similar to what we were saying, like an Odachi or something like we've seen in Yote. If you guys haven't hit subscribe yet, hit subscribe. It'll let you talk in the chat. I do a Safe for Work broadcast Monday through Friday. We are doing a reaction to phantombladezero gameplay. We're looking at some of the freeze frames right now. I'm looking at all the weapons here. So here's Juggernaut. This one's big. Each successful parry builds up 1 charge. The weapon turns red at full charge, at which point you can tap triangle to unleash a sweeping cleave. So this is really reminding me of some of the things you could do in Wu Chang, and I didn't play Kazan enough, so you guys would have to speak to this in Kazan. This seems like your entire gameplay style could change by just switching to a different weapon. Like, a particular weapon's going to have a very, very different play style. So this seems like an interesting juxtaposition to me, because you are pairing, you're putting these two things together as a pair. You're doing parrying, but you're also doing like this sweeping cleave. So it's this big giant sword, and yet it's going to be fed by the finesse and the precision of parries. I think that's an interesting combination. That could be, I think, very fun. We'll see these guys use in a little bit. They're like these twin, what do they call them? Twin rings. So twin rings, and they've got their own combos here: square, square, triangle, triangle, or 3 squares, 2 triangles. You're going to throw them out as ranged weapons in quick succession with homing effect. You can also press R1. You'll briefly phase out of existence when dodging. That's very interesting. And then we have the soft snake sword. While holding L1, you can tap triangle just before an incoming attack lands to fend it off and greatly reduce the attacker's sha chi. You can hold L1 and then square to form a blade barrier that severs the attacks of thread-like weapons. So again, the vibe that I'm getting here is they're building entire play styles almost out of these weapons themselves. Like, this feels very much on the reaction front. Like you're doing, a block, but then you're L1ing and triangling just before the incoming attack, and you fend it off. Or you can do a barrier that severs the attack of thread-like weapons, which I'm not quite sure what that would be. We'd have to wait and see if we see evidence of a thread-like weapon. So soft snake sword, the Sanguine, going back through. He picks the seamless death. Okay, here we go. Why can't we hear it? What happened to my sound? Did I tap? Oh, I tapped M by mistake. So this again right here, this is something that I highlighted in my short. This is where it really, really, I think, breaks from like a classic Souls-like game. Number one, the stealth feels more stealthy because you're actually like crouching, and it's doing that effect on the monitor where the edges of the screen go kind of dark, right? To signify that, like, yep, you're hidden. And then just a pretty brutal neck snap. So Here you're going to get to see what happens if you want to do a 2-for-1. This is going to be a 2-for-1 stealth assassination. I've not watched the entire video, but I've watched this section, and I thought this section was like, okay, I got to talk about this game. This game looks kind of sick. So we're getting some dialogue here. Voice acting, and writing is fine. I usually play these games with in Japanese, and in this case, it'd be, I think, Chinese. So there you go. So we're getting some kind of a reaction QuickTime event, the next snap, and then you have a window of time to press triangle. Again, this feels more like an action game, sort of like a mini QuickTime event, where Y, kick, and that, and that. So you go into sort of like a leg sweep execution. And here we're going to get to see another one of these grabs. So it seems as though this spear grab is not unique to a particular weapon set, because he did the spear grab with both these rings as well as the other sword he was using. That he was using that like pair of swords. So the spear grab could be an ability on a tree. It could be something that's just baked into the parry and the block system. I actually think it's interesting when games start doing this, okay? So the guy with the bow is doing an evasive move that if you have played Wu Chang, there are bosses that will do perfect dodges against you, and it's dadgum frustrating. Like, they're doing the thing that you do, right? So here, we see an evasive move where he goes away and shoots at you. So he, like, does, like, a launch off. Obviously, the player knows to not give them any... Okay, that was kind of sick. It looks like they have finishers on the combos. It said that the one you would like throw your short sword and it can execute a low health enemy. It looks like the ring toss is very similar. They just did it a little too early. If they would have waited, they would have been able to kill that person, and so they wouldn't have to like close that gap. We're going to get another spear steal here. So it seems the spear steal is an unblockable, and your only option is some sort of a ghostly parry where you disappear and grab. It also looks like you have an opportunity to get them before the windup completes, because we saw the red flash, but he just kind of kept going. Okay, at this point, I have not watched, so every reaction from this point on is just complete, genuine, on-the-fly reaction. I only watched that opener, and I was like, I want to watch this with you guys. Okay, so here we go. We have a shrine/bonfire camp mechanic, but we also have a map, and I know this is going to be celebrated by some folks who feel like games like this could give them a map. That would definitely be helpful, especially when you're playing Wu Chang. Oh my gosh, Wu Chang is so dense and so confusing and maze-like. So there is a map in phantombladezero. If you guys are enjoying the gameplay, the breakdown, the conversations, be sure to smash the like button. We're going to keep doing this thing where we pause and kind of look at the menus here. So now we've got some equipment that's not the primary weapon. I believe, it is my belief, and I could be incorrect, I think these are coming from boss fights, okay? So this is the Night Owl. You're going to hold R2 to charge up an even higher damage. Night Watch trusted tweak long bow. Pair with arrows fletched with owl pinions. It strikes with impeccable precision. Most targets die without even knowing what hit them. But we're going to go, wow, you went right past it. We got Man Cutter. Hold R2 to charge up even higher damage. You can unleash the charge attack immediately after dodging or in the middle of running. Tap R2 twice. Instantly swing at full charge at the cost of 2. This thing here is like down in the corner, I think, building up. Let's go back. Let's go back just a second, I think. Yeah, okay. So you can see down here in the corner, these things are building up. So left on the D-pad would switch between the two primary weapons. R on the D-pad would switch between what these look, again, like, I think they're like boss weapons. So there's 10 of those there that have been earned. And according to this menu, with 2 of them, you can tap R2 twice, and you'll instantly swing at full charge. And then we have Flaming Mane. R2 spews waves of flames, causing fire damage. It fills the target's burning meter with each hit. Excessive burning triggers ignition, which causes sustained damage. Okay, so he's going to switch to Flaming Mane. Okay. Doesn't mean it's like a bonfire. It's just a checkpoint. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that right there is a bonfire that resets enemies. He didn't go into a menu or rest. Well, all right. Okay, wait. Okay, so this thing down in the corner... Okay, down in the corner, this flame is eating that currency. So it's a 10 now. It's a 9, 8, 7, 6. Okay, so now we have 6. He switches to this. He spent 4 to do that. Let me do something really, really quickly. I'm going to reset the microphone because sometimes... Okay, so he's switching some weapons here. So he's going to switch to that Juggernaut. Well, no, he switched to... He switched to Jagged Steel. And down here, he's going to switch to Juggernaut. Okay. So he's going to switch to the Ink Cut, repeatedly tap R2 to launch a 3-hit medium range combo. The damaging effect lingers for a while. Okay. Ninjas. I need to see this part again. No. Stop. Everyone stop. Chat. Animation cancel. Okay, so did you see what I saw? Did you guys see what I just saw? Do you know what I'm picking up on here? There's animation cancel in this game. Did you see that? Holy frick. All right, hang on 1 second. Watch this. So, we're going to break this down. Okay? That's an attack. That right there is an attack. So the player has initiated some kind of an attack. He realizes he has made a mistake. Okay? He realizes he has made a mistake, and watch what he does. Bing. Get the frick out of here. We're going to watch this. We're going to watch this in slow motion. I'm bringing up the player controls. I want to see this. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, I want to slow this down. All right, hang on. We're going to go half speed, and we're going to back this up. Attack, stops, and deflects. I'm in. I'm so in. All right, let's put it back to normal speed. That to me is such a huge aspect of making a game feel fluid and like player volitional empowering. So I want to rewatch this section too, because the first couple parries, it looks really, really solid on response time. Because those are really, really short telegraphs. That kick and that kick, the second kick's a longer telegraph because he spins, but that first one's a pretty quick telegraph. And this bow shot, or no, it's probably just like a ninja star, like a shuriken. That's freaking sick. That shuriken shot was another really short telegraph. It seems like the reaction is very quick, like you're able to go into the parry very quickly. That's a huge deal. That's a huge deal for me personally. Initiating that swing, and here's why. Let me just talk about this just for a second with you guys. Let's just vamp for a little bit, and then we'll go back to the footage. One of the reasons that I really, really like that is because a lot of the times when you have a big weapon like that, that's why I said it'll be a really interesting juxtaposition. It's a big, heavy-looking weapon, but it's based in parries. Like, really? One of the reasons I tend to shy away from weapons like that is because of the committal aspect that Jack's talking about in chat. Like, You swing, if you misjudge, oh buddy, you're in for a world of pain because the wind up and everything, it's just so slow. What it ends up doing is it really just sort of shoves me away from those types of weapons because I feel like so much of my volition is very narrow and almost pigeonholed. It's like, well, you made a mistake. Sorry, you're locked into this super long animation. The ability to do a literal wind up like jump and then you see the arrow coming and then you just stop and deflect. I love that. I think that's excellent. That would make me try some of these other weapons instead of being like, yeah, the weapon's too big, it's too slow. I don't want to get locked into all these really long animations, and then I just wouldn't use them. I really feel like that empowers player choice, trying out different weapons and builds and trying out different playstyles because you don't feel so locked in like, well, this thing is like lugging around a concrete block. Stopping a massive wind-up attack mid-attack is not interesting play to me. Oh, I love it. I love the fluidity of it. It makes you feel like you're made of water. Shouldn't there be a trade-off for doing high damage big weapon? It's part of the risk of using a high damage weapon. Well, here's what I would say, J-Stock. It's less about risk and more about the payoff. Think of it from this perspective. If these big wind-ups mean I'm attacking less often, it means I have to be very selective when it is time to punish. I can't just kind of go in and spam or, overwhelm the enemy with like lots of light attacks. You are having to still be more selective. I don't think having a weapon that's slower and does more damage necessarily has to just open you up to more damage. You still are playing differently and more selectively. You're still having to choose your moments with more intentionality, and then the payoff is high damage. I think you'd be perfectly well within your right to make the argument that, like, well, I think the trade-off of the high damage is high windows of mistake opportunities. I think that's fine. My personal opinion is animation cancel is player empowering. And when you empower the player, you then can increase some of the intensity. So if you think about, I've made this analogy before. In Ori and the Blind Forest and in Rayman Legends, I promise this will make sense. You're like, why are you invoking these games? In Ori and the Blind Forest and Rayman Legends, there's these sections where you have to complete the section, and if you don't, you got to go right back to that section. It's really intense. Water's chasing you, lava's chasing you, things of that nature, right? You got to execute a bunch of perfectly timed jumps. It's very intense, and it can be a little bit stressful. And a lot of the times you're like really close to finishing it, and you're like, ooh, I almost got it, right? I almost got it. And then they put you right back at that checkpoint. Now, if instead of giving you that checkpoint, they required you to like rerun an entire area to get that really intense spot, it would become grueling, frustrating, and maybe they'd have to lighten up on the intensity. I have always argued that the more power, volition, and, fluidity, freedom, and things of that nature, when they give you that, they are then well within their right of increasing the intensity. So think about what animation cancel means in a game like phantombladezero. It means that you can have enemies that are doing very quick telegraphs like that. Like that guy's just like, oh, you're over there and you're coming towards me. Here's a shuriken. Here's a shuriken. And you're like, that's fine. I have animation cancel. I can anticipate or I can react to that even as I'm closing some space. So I think there's give and take. I think when you empower the player with that level of volition and fluidity, we'll call it volition. We'll call it volition. I think you then, on the other side of the coin, can add your own levels of intensity, speed, and, really pushing the player to react. And you're going to see in some of the upcoming footage that I've seen clips of on Twitter, they really bring the intensity, and I believe that they can because they've empowered the player to a pretty significant degree. I'm digging the music. I hope it has a pretty strong presence in like boss fights. Well, Pete is not going to like that. That bird was just minding his own business. Well, there's a lot of them. Bring me my bird. I like a game that gives weapons identity as well. I love the sword on his back. It has like a... Okay. Oh, it's hot. Look at that sword. Look at the sword. It's glowing. Okay, so it seems like those red attacks can be dodged. It does seem like they can be dodged because the guy with that crossbow did a red attack and he got away from it. Gosh, that parry, oh my gosh, it looks so nice. Oh, that was a really, really great chain. This is a great chain of events here. So he builds up the charge on this with parries from this guy. He does the ghost grab where he disappears, grabs his spear, kills him, comes out, finishes it, and then uses the charge up attack from the parries on these two guys so he gets 2 targets in one swing. I think oh my gosh. I think enemies are very healthy, like they're a little spongy, but I think it's because you have so many ways of chiseling them down rather quickly. I love the throw. Oh, I love interspersing kicks. There's the kung fu. Oh my gosh. That was clean. Oh. Bosses like this are always like, like, if you don't get that kind of a laugh from a fat boss in a game, I think the devs have failed. Okay, he's grunting, so no laugh, no giggle, but a little bit of a grunt. I mean, you got to do one or the other. Like, you're like, or you got to do like the, you got to pick one. Oh, those parries. Get the frick out of here. Woo! No, he didn't. Okay, what was the signal for that? What's the signal for this? Yeah, it's the red. It's the red. Okay, so it seems like red attacks can either be dodged or turned into some type of counterattack. So he does the red, slams the ground, homie jumps off of it. Okay. I am so freaking in this game. Okay. Yeah. He's like, I was just sweeping the arena. This is unkind. He's just trying to tidy up the place. The stun meter on the bottom for the boss. I can't even see what's happening. Okay, he got the stun meter full. So what's that mean? All right, we got some phase 2 attacks coming out here. Butt stomp. I'm not sure I understand that gold meter, because the gold meter is going down the more he attacks him. It's a stagger system? Yeah, but the stagger system doesn't make any sense. Because look, the stun meter is empty. Oh, I misunderstood. You're not filling that meter, you're whittling that meter down. My bad. I completely misread that. I wasn't paying attention to it. Now I understand. So he whittled the meter down, and that's what led to the knockdown. Got it. I was like, I do not understand this at all. And there you go. Yeah, so I saw a clip of this. So you get the enemy's weapon, and I think this is going to go where that axe and the bow were. You can hold R2 to swing the sledgehammer and finish with a ground slam, dealing shockwave damage to nearby enemies. You can tap it while airborne to slam the ground. Grants the power to break through weakened floor covered with old planks. No need to actually equip bash pole. Oh. That power to break through weakened floor and stuff, you don't have to equip it. Okay, but you got to equip it for the other things. Bright as a tiny sun and hitting like a loaded wagon. Brute's signature weapon is all about raw force. If something is still standing after one hit, just bash it again. Okay. Equip now. Yeah, see, it looks like it's going to go into one of those equipment slots. And again, you don't need to equip it to bash through like weakened spots. Okay. Yeah, because like, see down in the corner, he has it equipped, but he doesn't have it out. It just, I don't know if you have to go into the menu though to do that though, or if it's just you always can do that with bash pole. No, he straight up jumped over this guy's throwing knife. Okay. I like the grab and run. I like it. If you guys are just tuning in, we're doing a phantombladezero gameplay reaction. We discussed for the first hour of the show whether or not it's a Soulslike, and we'll look at some of the dev commentary in a moment, so stick around for that. Make sure and hit subscribe if you want to talk in the chat. This is a Safe for Work broadcast, Monday through Friday. It's kind of like a podcast you can listen to about gaming. Do me a favor as well. Go through the ritual of hitting the like button. And these are great days to bless folks with members and welcome to our community, or you can pick up your own membership for $6 a month. You get into all my extra behind-the-scenes content. The red attacks can either be dodged or parried. If you parry a red attack, you get a special finisher.
Surprise! Do you know how to get into the training ground? So, you're here to die too. Suit yourself then. Take the path on that side, beyond the pigeon loft, and the skywalk along the cliff. 3 burning beacon towers. 7 swordsmen. The leader. I don't know his name. They call him Al-Qaid. They have the key you need. Much appreciated. Beware of the 7 stars in their sword formation.
Seems like the voice acting is serviceable, but not going to be necessarily the strong point of the game. I would probably play this in the native tongue, which I believe would be Chinese.
They're dark and hollow.
I feel like Japanese games and Chinese games, I feel like when you play them in their native tongue, it just, I don't know, it has a better feel and a better vibe.
This part, is it caused by perfect transcension? Yes, it takes away your heart, leaving only a husk. They put you to sleep, and when you wake up, you're not human anymore. You mean you're... My face is evaporating, right? Never mind it. I poisoned myself. And death will claim me long before I transform into one of those things. Lily, let me die in peace.
That's kind of dark. Okay, we're going to switch up to Jagged Steel, and man, I'd really want to see those dual red blades. I think those dual red blades are in another clip somewhere. Yeah, he knew he needed parries. I like that you can parry non-sword attacks. See why it's okay to have animation cancel? Like, look at the crap you're dealing with. They're just attacking from all angles, boys. You know what I don't see, chat? I don't see a stamina meter. Even behind me. That's just a... I don't... Is that a stamina meter, though? No, I think it's a... Yeah, that's... I feel like that's a posture meter. Yeah. I think that's a posture meter. I don't think you have a stamina meter. I believe they borrowed that. Isn't that how it works in Sekiro? Oh, what is this guy doing? Sorry, y'all. Not a Soulslike. Yeah, no stamina system. It seems like you just have a posture bar. Rewind the tape. Did I miss something cool? Because I was looking at chat because we had somebody spamming some offensive stuff. Oh, you can just leave that going. Okay. I love the Ooh, getting a little low on health. I love the acrobatics. I also like that the parry sound, it changes in accordance to what he's blocking. Did you pick up on that? So I'm going to go back. When he's fighting this guy, listen to the parry sounds. Hang on.
Enough is enough. I've got to get rid of this hero figure for good.
You see how it was more of like a thudding sound, and when it's the actual weapons, it's more of the clang. Does you see that? Notice how the background fence disappears when your character's in front of it, Lono, so the camera won't be much of an issue. Yeah, I think that's a good approach to obstacles instead of like moving the camera. They did that in Wu Chang. Stuff would just sort of become like see-through. The sword was wiggling. Yeah, it was like looking like almost like a whip at times. Well, hello there. No, we're gonna fight on the roof. Sick. Let me give you guys some sound.
She's holding back. Even under that sandy breaking shot chi surge. Should I leave her be and push on for now?
Wait, what?
Should I leave her be and push on for now?
So he says, should I leave her be and push on for now? So for whatever reason, they're showing you that you can just decide to be like, yeah, I don't want to fight this fight. It seemed like it was going well. It seemed a little bit frenetic and like slashy parry base. But yeah, he just leaves. All right, here we go. This is obviously an NPC village. You're just going to be able to rest. This isn't a boss fight. Was that a red? Is this a red? Is this like a red parry that they do? Yeah, it was. Okay, so this is really interesting. Okay, from a gameplay perspective, the red flash comes from the boss up by the flaming tower. Watch. You see? Yo! Yo! Do you see why it's okay that the game gives you animation cancel? Like, do you see what I was talking about? I didn't pre-watch this. I told you, when you give the player animation cancel, you can really, really pour on the intensity. If you didn't have animation cancel, this fight would be extremely frustrating, and a lot of volition would be taken from you. Oh! Get the frick out! Love it. Love it. He totally saw it. Like, the adaptation's wonderful. He's like, oh, y'all are going to group up so you're going to throw your boss at me? Yeah, okay. Let me get out my boomstick. So he missed that one. So this is a red attack. Either that or it's a different parry or something. He went low and dodged it, but he did. I don't think he did the actual like counterattack parry. Love it. F your couch. He said F your couch. He's locked in. That was so good. Okay, so this is something that we read about, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about this right now, and we can take a brief break, and we'll go back to the footage in just a second. If you guys are enjoying this, man, help me get to 300 likes. Nice turnout today. Thanks so much for hanging out. Okay, so this is Phase 2. They have revealed interviews and conversations about the game that, again, this is not a traditional Souls-like. There's Souls influence. It is more of an action game, more of a hack and slash. And you will have checkpoints in the boss fights. So if you earn yourself Phase 2 and you die, you will get to come back in Phase 2. I'm a huge fan of this. I'm also a fan of Sekiro not doing that. The Ishin fight especially is a great, tour de force of endurance and remembrance. It truly tests you as a player. That's a transformative fight for me. It's one of my favorite fights in all of gaming that I've ever experienced. So This game taking a very different approach. So if you are more of a fan of that Souls overly punishing, no checkpoints, 3 phases, 2 phases, whatever, that will not be in this game. So those of you like, is it a Souls-like? Is it a Souls-like? This is another example of how it is not. All right, let's get back to the action. So when it comes to music, I actually think this is an interesting decision for them to go into a more you're not getting an organ, you're not getting what would sound like more like Eastern instrumental, although it's somewhat present and there. We saw this with Yote, like the intersection of like Western and Eastern instrumentation and style. This is definitely a blend of that. We're getting a bit of like what just sounds more like almost like a classic like metal music or something from like a Doom, and you're also getting this weird like screeching. It sounds like almost like a violin.
Nothing can separate us.
I'm sorry, what?
Not even in death.
Oh! Wait. That's a chick from the roof. So, I don't know if that was foreshadowing. Like, is that one of those fights where you don't really kill her and she leaves, and because the player knew that, they just chose not to fight her? Or, if he would have chose to fight her, would she not show up at this point? I really wonder. Wait. Why? Okay, so the Chief's disciples' fallen hope heals here. Watch. Okay, so their health's way down. Have they been healing the entire time and I just... Oh, she's healing him. Oh! Yeah. She's shooting him with some kind of red thing, and it heals him. It's interesting they keep wasting their time on the main guy.
I will be waiting on the other side.
Yeah. These guys are absolutely showing off, dude. They're cooking with this game. That was so good. That was so stinking good. I got to tell you, like, this game has me way more excited than I originally was. Way more. Like, the intersection of, like, action, abilities, just fast, super frenetic fights with these parries, and then these big, huge, punctuated moments of, like, slamming the ground or pulling them down. I love it. I absolutely love it. I knew that the gameplay looked really sick when I posted that video clip a long time ago on Twitter, and he got like millions of views or whatever. And I was like, man, people are really hyped about this game. Well, I mean, you can see why. They're absolutely cooking. Their official channel might have more footage for us as well. I think that's the longest thing they've released. That's 22 minutes. I believe currently, those of you asking about the phantombladezero release date, I believe the release window is next year. And this was it's Unreal 5, by the way. I saw some of you guys asking, like, what's the game running in? I don't know. Yeah, this footage here we just saw. We just saw this fight. So this is the Thing Year of the Snake gameplay trailer. They've already kind of released this. So it looks like the back half of the 22-minute trailer is interestingly enough, this is the fight without her. She doesn't show up. So she's not in this fight. So I wonder if there are fights like that where, like, if you invest in exploration and clearing an area, will you sometimes remove, like, you're not summoning somebody, they're summoning somebody. So, like, does this Chief Disciple's Fallen Hope, like, does this boss summon her if you don't kill her? Like I said, you should have taken care of her on the roof. Yeah, I really think that's a cool mechanic to have, like, an area of the game where, yeah, he's using completely different weapons this time around. He's using the, whatever it was called, the snake and the dagger. I forget what it's called. It's a short sword and a long sword. I really like that as an idea. Like, if you take the time to do the due diligence to explore the area, there was a fight like that in Expedition 33 where the fight was easier if you took the time to explore and remove all these various things. Like, this fight is going completely different now. He's already got the boss to half health, which should trigger a phase 2 here, it seems. Yeah, we're getting more aggressive attacks from range that can be blocked and parried, it seems. Or, you know, just dodge there. Yeah, it seems that the parries reward you with the currency as well. Down in the corner, see that flash down in the corner. So it seems this is another in-fight currency that you get from actively landing good parries. But it does seem like this boss fight is way more manageable when she doesn't show up. I mean, he is making absolute light work of this guy. I mean, absolute light work. So that, I think, is another cool mechanic. I wonder if all, or maybe not all, but I wonder if, like, a lot of the areas are like that. Cooldown on weapon switching, that's cheap. I would imagine sometimes if they're going to do something like that, like, you know, cooldown on weapon switch. All right, hang on. We got to watch that again. Okay, so, all right. So this is like a boss ability that you get, you know, or maybe you just find this, but it's like a heavy axe. And this guy knows. He winds up, he slams, oh, that's cool. He literally does the ability knowing I'm going to be able to get under the range attack and get them as they come down. Like, that was a very cool way to end it. I'm curious how many bosses are going to be like that. Like, how many of them are going to let you sort of clear the area and kill, like, a helper, summonable, whatever. And, you know, are you going to be able to impact boss fights, like, preemptively like that? If you guys have been enjoying the breakdown and the reaction to phantombladezero gameplay, do me a favor. Try to get me to 300 likes. A lot of folks here that maybe have never been here before, this is kind of what we do. We do a live talk show like this Monday through Friday. I am safe for work. I will be out of town next week. We are giving you guys the opportunity to unlock extra content this week. So the member goal unlocks Friday night. It's a stream with my wife. It's a blast. I'm giving you guys the opportunity to also get Saturday night. So make sure you're doing your renewals, your gifteds, all the things. Super chats can also make me gift. And consider upgrading as well. If you're on a gifted member, you can bump up to Member Plus. I'm coming over here to give you your like. This video deserves as many views as possible. I appreciate that, Snake Eyes. Thank you. There are way too many games coming down the pipeline. Yeah, 2025 is busting at the seams. And I know people have said, and we were talking about this earlier today, you know, people feel a little bit of an, you know, a burnout with Souls-like games. Like there's like a Souls-like fatigue. Moist Critical Charlie, he did a video about that, and he also sort of reviewed Wu Chang. And I want to now look at the commentary from the devs. This is on their Twitter about this. So they answer the question. So what is Phantom Blade Zero? A developer's letter from Soulframe, CEO of S Game, creator of Phantom Blade Zero. All right, so let's do this. Let's open this, and let's open this. Yeah, and let's just kind of zoom in and scroll here, okay? When Phantom Blade Zero was first announced, people thought it was a Souls-like. After all, it seems to feature interconnected maps, hidden secrets, and those sigh of relief checkpoints. Later, after we released some combat demo, people noticed that the pace of the game was... Hang on one second, I'm just minimizing some stuff here. Was much faster than Souls-like titles. It must be a hack-and-slash game like Devil May Cry or Ninja Gaiden. Genre is a label based on stereotypes. It helps players who are familiar with classic titles quickly build a frame of reference and form reasonable expectations. However, Phantom Blade Zero is neither a Souls-like game or a traditional action game. I've always admired the creators who defined these genres. I spent years immersed in their work, drawing inspiration and learning from their brilliance. But in the process of making this game, we stumbled onto a path we never expected. At first, we just wanted to make a game that brought hack and slash into a multi-layered map. But once the animations and environmental assets came together, everything was stitched together by a strong cultural aesthetic, creating something that felt deeply familiar to us, yet is rarely seen or experienced in games. Is Phantom Blade Zero difficult? I really want to try it, but I'm afraid I won't be able to get through it. Now, hang on. Did we miss something here? Oh, we did. I'm so sorry. Hang on. Open, and then open. Let's do this in order. Chinese Kung Fu and the spirit of Xia have a history spanning thousands of years across different historical periods. They've always managed to find new forms of expression and within those forms create distinct genres of their own. Starting in the 1960s, Kung Fu masters like Bruce Lee began to stitch together traditional Chinese martial arts, Western combat techniques, and Hollywood filmmaking. Over the following decades, this hybrid continued to evolve, eventually forming a specific genre of cinema. Today, few people would simply call them action movies. More often, we refer to them as kung fu films, wuxia films. Am I saying that right? Wuxia? Or martial arts films. Likewise, Phantom Blade Zero is not exactly a Souls-like game or a traditional action game. Broadly speaking, it falls under the category of ARPG, but more specifically, maybe it could create a new identity that is wuxia action game. Because here's what you'll get to experience. Wuxia. It's just wuxia? Okay. Leaping across rooftops under a rain of arrows, fighting off pursuers atop speeding carriage, uncovering the truth behind an incident that shocked the world years ago, and even more iconic cinema moments. That's why we've decided to share this small demo to give you a clearer glimpse of the game's core experience. I believe these are just pictures. Okay, I think that's the end of the thing. So, is Phantom Blade Zero difficult? Wuxia. Okay, thank you. We've heard this question a lot, and this demo is our answer. It features 3 difficulty settings to suit different playstyles. The default one, Game Changer, offers a balanced blend of challenge and fun, making it a great starting point for most players. Wayfarer, the easier mode, is designed for those with little to no experience in action games, ensuring a smooth and accessible experience. Hellwalker is the hardest mode, unlocked only in New Game Plus in the full release. In this mode, you'll face smarter AI, reshuffled move sets, and entirely new moves exclusive to those truly seeking challenge. Now, I got to give them some praise here because this is a pretty big amount of replayable depth. The game isn't just going to be harder, like, okay, stuff's stronger, I'm weaker. You are going to be facing new move sets that are exclusive, as well as reshuffling the move sets, because now you've got to have like new muscle memory. So some might not like this, right? Like, is there a demo out? Yeah, I don't know why they're saying that. Where can you play a demo of this? Or were they talking about, when they say demo, are they referring to the video? Because the video's title is literally S Party Demo Walkthrough. There was an S Party hands-on event that this came from, so that's possibly what they're referring to. Whether you're completely new or seasoned veteran, this demo offers a unique experience tailored to you. We're hosting an event at Shugang Park, one of the venues of the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. We couldn't be more excited because this truly is no place more kungfupunk than this. Special thanks to Sony Interactive Entertainment for providing PlayStation 5 and to NVIDIA and Asus Republic of Gamers for supplying the PC hardware. As shared before the Chinese New Year, we're planning to officially announce the launch date before 2025 runs out. Until then, your feedback and suggestions will be a huge help to us. Stay tuned. I think these guys they're barbecuing, I think we need to go above and beyond cooking here. I think these guys are absolutely barbecuing here. They've got good ideas. They've got good replayability ideas. They're also being very, very frank and honest with people about, is this a Souls game? Is it just an action game? And they're like, not really, Have you tried to play Wu Chang? I have a video on the game, and I have gameplay on the channel right now. I was given review access. I put in over 30 hours in the game. There's good, there's bad. There's definitely rough edges. PC needs a lot of tender love and care. Console version needs some assistance in performance mode. There's also inconsistencies in hitboxes and some things in boss fights later in the game that needs to be addressed as well. You beat Honglin last night. Yeah, she's a bit of a skill check. Yeah, she's tough. She's probably, I think, the first skill check in the game. Sony sent their people to the developer to assist with optimization, just like they did with Black Myth Wukong. Yeah, and that would hopefully mean that you get a high-quality, piece of property when the game finally comes out. So, we'll be playing Grounded 2 when it drops. I'll be sure to check it out and try it. That's definitely a game I could see maybe, also doing like a showcase of co-op with my wife. Unfortunately, I don't know if we'll be able to do that. Well, no, we probably could do that because I could play it PC and then she could play on the Xbox, and I've got dual setup in here now for dual capture. We could maybe do that as well. Depends on PC because I get 1440 120. The overwhelming amount of negative reviews on it, I think, would indicate that there are probably more people having problems than are not. But it does seem like you have to have a pretty beastly machine to sort of glide over some of the performance issues in the game. So if you're in more of a mid-range PC and not necessarily at the upper echelon, then you're probably going to be encountering a little bit more of those problems. So, and thank you to everybody who tuned in yesterday. We talked about the PlayStation situation. Are they hurting the brand? The job listing has people kind of up in a tizzy. We are planning on covering the lawsuit. I just wanted to give it time to breathe. Sometimes something like that breaks, and then within a day there's a lot more information, and we thought it would be more fun just to do a reaction. If you guys have enjoyed this kind of a stream, then do me a favor, man. Hit the like button, subscribe. Anytime you see a reaction stream like this, man, tune in, and the more support we get for this kind of content, the more we'll be able to do it. I really have enjoyed this. This is something we've never really done before. I also have ideas about reaction content where we would just pick a video that I think is particularly good or opinionated on something and do the same thing. Set the table, discuss the topic, and then watch the video and kind of react, a completely new piece of content. So if there are videos you would like to see me react to or engage with in that type of content, you can throw that in the Discord somewhere and we can take a look. I love how quickly Lono honed in on the animation cancel moment. It stood out so quickly to me. Let's go back to that, actually. If you guys missed it, this stood out to me so strongly. This moment is just, to me, this to me is a game changer, okay? Because animation cancel is hotly debated, and something that I've talked about, and you could see it later in those boss fights, when you allow the player to animation cancel, I think you can really pour on the intensity, and you can really, really go crazy. So after he kills this enemy, there is going to be a moment here where a leaping attack is initiated by the player. In the process of executing that attack, they realize that a range attack is coming from the enemy, some type of a shuriken or something out of their wrist, okay? And they are able to animation cancel, and they are able to parry. Watch. See? It's super subtle. It's super subtle, but to me, that's a game changer right there. That changes the entire flow of fast, frenetic combat. You are then, I think, empowering the player to handle just the litany of things coming in all at once. Now, people initially, when I showed that sequence, they're like, I really don't like that. I think you should have to kind of commit, to whatever you're doing. But then we watched the boss fight later with like all these different enemies attacking and doing all this stuff. And I was like, do you see? This is exactly what I was talking about. I had not pre-watched the video, but I said, when you empower the player with that layer of response, reaction, and volition, you can really pour on the intensity. You can really pour on the rhythm of the attacks can be, I think, a little bit more intense. Without animation cancel, that boss fight we watched would have been, I think, very different. Potentially, I think it would have been very frustrating, and it would have been, very much sort of backwards in how you had to kind of handle it. So that, I think, is a huge aspect of these types of games that I particularly enjoy, especially because it's allowing these developers to create a very unique weapon. In my opinion, when we read the description of the weapon, I literally said to you guys, I was like, that's an interesting juxtaposition, a very big, heavy, sort of sweeping attack weapon, but it feeds itself off of parries. Parries tend to be quick reaction time, finesse. These are things I think that are oddly paired together. Well, you can see through the duration of this sequence, the more he uses this weapon, it actually looks really, really fun. Combining, a big sort of heavy, sweeping, almost cleaving attack weapon with the speed and the precision of parries. I really, really like that combination. So I think this should be a game with a lot of weapon identity. I said that during the sequence as well, how I like a game where the weapons have identity, and like the weapon on his back has a very, very clear, feel to it, and it doesn't just look like it's like a generic, big heavy weapon. It's got like a feel and a vibe to it, almost like he, ripped it from a boss's hands, which is another thing this game does, is you actually get weapons from the bosses and can use them in your loadout, but they're more like abilities than a weapon that you're committing to. Sometimes in these games, you get this really cool weapon from a boss, like the really heavy, swords from Radon in Elden Ring, and it just completely changes everything you can do, and it makes a lot of your reaction time, virtually impossible. Release date. So phantombladezero release date should be sometime next year. They have said before 2025 ends, they would like to announce the release date. They will. I'm assuming they're going to do that. This is going to be playable. I think we've read and heard it'll be playable at upcoming events like China. Will it be at China Joy? It might be at China Joy. It might be at Gamescom, Tokyo Game Show, one of those. I believe it's going to be playable at one of those events. I would imagine we get a release date for this at China Joy or Tokyo Game Show. That would be my guess. But there's 3 events kind of upcoming. China Joy, Tokyo Game Show, and Gamescom. One of those events, I would imagine we're going to get a release date. Demo for us at home. It would be awesome if when they announce the release date, they give us a playable demo, right? That I think would be good. Keithius, thank you so much for 3 months of memberships. We are working on a pretty big member goal, and we were ahead of pace coming into today, and now we're just going to be on pace. 200 is pace for 2 days of the week. So if you guys want to get on pace, you're going to want to end today at like 400. If you want to unlock that Saturday stream, folks were asking for a Mario Kart community game night, which we will do on Saturday if you guys manage to unlock it. Phantom Blade will pair nicely with the PSSR 2.0 on the Pro. Well, thank you, Keithius, for double dipping as well and giving us a little member bump there to 193, renewing on both platforms. It's very, very kind of you to support in both places. Thank you so much for doing that. Guys, check your primes. You got to renew those manually every month over on the purple platform. Check your hit the $ button. You might have a renewal to celebrate on YouTube as well. So we don't know just what PSSR 2 is going to do to games like this, because PSSR 2 is going to be grabbing and implementing the algorithm from FSR 4. So I'm not quite sure what sort of implementations we'll be able to see in a game like this. Has been in development for so long, but hopefully, yeah, we would see a lot of games benefit from it. No, I shifted back to Death Stranding 2 because I was running into inconsistencies, as well as the performance issues on console get worse in the area where I am. There's like lots of lighting and trees and shadows, and it was just getting really stuttery. And I was like, well, I know they said that they were committed to fixing performance, so I wanted to give them a chance to do that. So I went back to Death Stranding 2. I am getting close to the end of Death Stranding 2. I believe I'm like 80-something%. I've done 10 of the chapters of that game. And so I'm hoping I could go back and a lot of that stuff would be polished again or made a little bit more reliable. Like, they took good feedback. I mean, one of the things I was critical of, they took good feedback on. They tweaked the mines. So I had some people being critical of the fact that I was taking a break from it, and I was like, well, they've literally admitted the game has problems and they're committed to fixing them. Why would I play the game? Why I don't get why you would play a game knowing they're committed to fixing some of the things that were causing me some frustration. That seems like a weird position or a weird hang up to have. So I feel like I put out good information. I feel like I showcased the gameplay. I was able to show some of the flaws, so consumers were able to make a good and informed decision, which is that's my commitment is to. My commitment's not to like rolling credits on every game I touch. I think that's an unreasonable expectation. But I also think that if you highlight problems that a game has, it's better to let them try to fix them and then go back in. I was actually wanting to play Kazan after Death Stranding 2, as Troll's saying. So, you fix the game before the fixes, so Eugene can't give you crap about it afterwards. That's right. That's what I'm waiting for, is an update before I play Fallen Feathers. Yeah, it just downloaded an update last night on my PlayStation. I don't know exactly what they did or what exactly they fixed. I loaded it up. I spun the camera around. It was still really jittery. When coming from the Decima engine in Death Stranding 2 into Wu Chang's very ugly looking. Its performance mode particularly. The game itself, I think, is pretty. The models, the world, the characters, the enemies. But the performance mode's very ugly. When you come from a very polished experience and a very polished game designed specifically for the PlayStation 5 with Decima engine in Death Stranding 2, it's kind of hard to deal with something that just looks so ugly and just so jittery and blurry. So, trying to complete all infrastructure as I go to Chapter 7 in Death Stranding 2. I'm very much beelining Death Stranding 2. I'll be honest, I'm not enjoying it as much as Death Stranding 1. I've seen some people kind of echo that sentiment. I don't think it's going to become my game of the year. Currently, my game of the year is Expedition 33, and so I don't think that's going to change. So, did you hear about the controversy about the performance patch for PC? Didn't they do something that was like actually not a fix? From what I saw, there was like a video on it where the guy basically said it was like they basically just changed something and took an option away. I didn't get to watch the whole video. I like watched a snippet and I was like, what the heck are they doing? But since I don't play on PC, I didn't take great interest in it. I was like, I'm more interested in if they're going to fix things on the PlayStation or the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 5 Pro. So Kazan has some of the best combat I've ever experienced. It's a must-play if you like these kinds of games. I just like how Kazan's very parry-focused. I love the parry focus in Sekiro. I love the parry focus in Lies of P. I've been told that Lies of P gets worse after the swamp monster. I still feel a draw to beating Lies of P on easy and then playing the DLC just because I love being in the world and I love the art style, and I would love to roll credits and be like, hey, I want to give my full opinion on the bosses and the late game, the back half of the game, the story, and everything else. Death Stranding 2 is my game of the generation. I love it. I have 109 hours into it, 6 trophies left. The grind in Death Stranding 2 just doesn't call to me. It doesn't. I see people getting 5 stars at every NPC. I see people building infrastructure, and it's like that kind of called to me, and it kind of drew me in Death Stranding 1, and it's just not in Death Stranding 2. Maybe if I would have played them further apart, maybe the people that played Death Stranding 1 like a year or two ago are having a better time with it. Maybe the fact that I played Death Stranding 1 this year, close to I think 50 hours or something, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I was like building roads and getting kind of hooked by the grind. And then I don't know, this game's not doing that this time. I love the story. I love some of the sequences and some of the scenes. Like, they just did a really cool revelation last night that I kind of sensed what's going on, and I was like, okay, this is really cool. There was a really cool moment too last night where like something happened between the main character and the big bad, and some people came and helped, and it was awesome. You got burned out? I don't feel burnout, though. I love being in the world, and I love doing the missions. The grind just doesn't call to me. It's like, oh, but you could do everything for this guy and get 5 stars, and you could build this road. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to. It's not that I'm burnt out. It's like I don't have a desire. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to play the story. They changed the internal resolution, so everything is more upscaled, and even native is now upscaled. Really? That's not the right way to do that, I don't think. I don't think it's the game's fault. It's better in every way. I did just play it in the spring, but I'm building out the world. Yeah, I'm not saying anything critical about the game. I don't think Death Stranding 2 has failed in any way. It just doesn't call to me like it did the first time. I'm like, I don't get a whole lot of satisfaction out of grinding each NPC and building roads. Also, to the points that were made about the truck, you can use the truck for everything. I have taken it up every snowy mountain. I've taken it into areas that looked like I wouldn't be able to. When we had that debate and I was told, nope, you're going to get to the point you can't use the truck, hasn't happened yet. I'm past chapter 10, and I have used the truck for everything. I've billy-goated my way up every mountain with the truck with almost no problem. Every once in a while, I've kind of slid back down and had to take a slightly different route. A couple of times I had to be very intentional about my PCC and putting down a charging station. I've used the truck for everything. So it's an interesting situation that they've created where virtually every other mission, they're giving you like a shopping mall worth stuff of deliver, and it's like, well, they're really motivating you to vehicle it up. They're not, it doesn't seem like backpack hike it up oriented anymore. Like every other mission is like, here's an armada of stuff to deliver. So you're like, well, I'm going to use the truck. Like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that was one of the criticisms Skillet brought up, and people are like, no, you can't use a truck for everything. Yes, you can. I have yet to face an issue with the truck. I've gone up every single one of them snowy mountains without a problem. Little slide down here and there, not that big of a deal, Once the whole world is built out, it's rewarding to make the deliveries and get everything to 5 stars. Yeah, no, I get why people like the grind. I do. I love how dense the world is and all the stuff they let you do. It doesn't call to me. It doesn't speak to me in the least. I'm just like, I love the story. I love being in the world and doing stuff. But I'm not like, ooh, I can't wait to get 5 stars with that NPC. No, I just move on to the next thing. I just move on to the next, major order. And I have not yet felt bored or uninterested. The grindy aspect of the game, it's there for the people that want it, but it doesn't call to me in the least bit. I'm like, no, I'm just going to move on in the story. Like every time I go back to the Magellan and I get to go and talk to people and like new things are happening, that's when I'm the most excited. Like I really, really like the story. I really like the vibes and the feel. Use of music in a couple of the scenes with Elle Fanning in particular has been phenomenal. I love that aspect of the game. Oh, the coffin is the best. I've seen people serving on the coffin. What's good, Phil? How are you? Really quickly, if you guys haven't already, we've really struggled to hit the 300 like count today. I don't know if it's YouTube being stingy or if folks are forgetting to do it. Go through that ritual every time you kind of get in here. Hit like, say hello in the chat. Even if you're a lurker, you can go through those rituals, and it does help out the video. I appreciate all the new subscribers today. Thank you, everybody who has hit subscribe. If you've enjoyed this breakdown of Phantom Blade Zero gameplay and the subsequent discussion, I appreciate you being here greatly. It is possible that because you stopped playing the game for weeks. No, I stopped playing the game when I was at 30-something hours, and for the entire 30 hours, I felt that. My feelings didn't change. They've been that way the whole time. The opening 30 hours, I was like, I don't want to do any of the grind or building stuff this time. I just want to be in the world. I want to be in this lush tropical area, then the snowy areas and the rainy areas. And I like the fighting. The fighting and the shooting has been, I think, the combat's been really enjoyable. And I am playing it on easy, but I do like the combat. It's just got a cool vibe to it. The weapons are cool. But the like that grind that's there if you want it, I'm just like, I don't want to do that. You know. Tubbs Gaming with 4 months. Thank you so much. It's just been dangling right there, that 200, the potential for 200, and owing you guys some members. You can check out Grounded 2? Yeah, I'll probably check it out when it comes out. Are you going to try Mafia the Old Country when it comes out? I will be out of town, so I would probably come back and check it out. I definitely want to play it because I think it's maybe a potential Game of the Year nominated game. No premiere today, no upload today. Why easy? Because I was more interested in getting immersed in the world and just the vibe and the tone and the story. I wasn't interested in having like failure or having to start over. So when I play a game like that, I felt like the reason I was able to like really get into a fun headspace with Death Stranding 1 is I turned the difficulty down. When people told me that I could turn the difficulty down, I was like, well, let me try it. And I played for a couple of hours and I was like, oh, I get why people love this game. It enabled me to just sort of get immersed and just experience the game, the world, and the story, and not have to grate up against the survival elements. I've not played Abiotic Factor. I looked at it and it looked like a game that Madam and I might enjoy, but I was like, nah. Like we were enjoying Donkey Kong, and she got a little bored with Donkey Kong. I was really liking it. I actually think Donkey Kong plays better by yourself. I think the co-op companion is like a 50 cal machine gun on your shoulder, and it really trivializes a lot of the content in Donkey Kong, like the challenges and stuff. So we tried out Returnal again last night. I'm going to try out again tonight with her and just see if we can't get in. I felt like we were in a better rhythm with Returnal. We got the Frike. We got the third phase. She went down. We used to not even get that far, or we would get the Frike and she'd go down like right away. It's only after areas are on the network and I'm building up the world that I find the truck helpful, which I think is difficulty-based. What do you think is difficulty-based? I think once you get to the mountains, it's harder to navigate with the truck, and it's actually made me waste time messing up cargo landing too hard. Yeah, I'm not having that issue with the truck, so it could be difficulty-based. It could be. It's possible that the truck is like a one-size-fits-all answer on the easier difficulties, because maybe my shipment is more durable, if that makes sense. So you love the story, but you hate the delivery. I find the deliveries to be very relaxing. I enjoy it. It's very just like therapeutic to be doing something, and like it's calming, and the music comes in, and you know, you get to kind of like put something down and deliver it and check the box. Yo, thank you so much, Raven, for doing a member plus. Welcome back in. That is 195. We're exactly a 5 bomb away from 200. Thank you guys so much. Every 50 I give 5, and we're 5 away. Whoever hits it gets it. It's been all quiet on the Western Front today in the competition between the platforms. Death Stranding 2 is a Soulslike, that's right. What's with all the weirdos trying to gaslight us into thinking that we're the ones freaking out? Whoa, that's a big one. Raven with a 20 bomb on purple takes us to 215. We have dropped pretty severely in our points on purple, and we need to bounce back, and that is a big one. It's now 21 to, 36 over here? Actually, I think it should be Keithius, Tubbs, and Raven's gift, so it should be 22 over here. So it's 22 to 36. Purple puts up a fight. She says, get wrecked. I'm sorry, Team Purple puts up a fight. Raven says, get wrecked. I owe that platform the 5 for hitting the 50 milestone. Thank you so much. Time for Team YouTube to answer back. And a single gift that comes in from Joker Quinn to signal the start. Joker Quinn has been doing a lot of single gifteds. True SSJ Havoc, he asked for you guys to go crazy today with gifteds for his birthday. And Raven does another one, another 10 bomb up to 32. It's now 32 to 37, and the 10 bomb takes a total count to 226. We were exactly 24 away from the next milestone. Thank you so much, Raven. Liza P., Daisy, and My Hero 1's Justice 2 are the August PlayStation Plus games, monthly games. True SSJ Havoc says, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody who has gone the distance today with giftings and resubs. And we got a hype train coming in over here on purple. It's a perfect opportunity for you guys to go nuts on purple. I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity on purple to, let's see here. Community. Where do I do that? Subscriptions. Discount promotions. Here you guys go. I'm going to give you guys an hour. There you go. For the next hour, gifted subs and subs are discounted on my channel. You guys can go the distance with the hype train, beat the tar out of YouTube. Let's see it. I'm literally one delivery away from a complete 5-star with every single station in the director's cut. And then I'm heading to the last event to finish the game. Then it's off to Death Stranding 2. Love the journey. Well, I'm glad you had a good time with it. Almost lost a bike last night because the timefall was so hard and strong in the area that I was in. Yeah, I got in a fight last night and accidentally blew up my my truck. And Wired Rope is going to do it with the 5 bomb. He's going to say, well, all right, if you're going to give us a discount. And we're now 20 away from the next milestone. Thank you so much. It is officially tied 37 to 37. William Ortega with a $10 super chat. Been enjoying your channel. Looking forward to phantombladezero. Thank you so much. Thank you for that super chat. All right, it's officially tied. Team Purple, Team YouTube. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. This is your opportunity, Purple, because I don't think any of the big boys are here today. Enjoy the gameplay breakdown. Well, I appreciate that very, very much, and thank you guys for 300 likes on the video. Doing a reaction and a breakdown like this is something that I thoroughly enjoy. Thank you for the 400 bits, Raven. I appreciate it. Adding to the hype train. That's something that I used to do. I used to do that with Destiny. Like, we would take a trailer, we would take a reveal, we would kind of break down every facet of it and look for clues about the gameplay, freeze frame on the menus and stuff like that. So I thought that was really enjoyable with phantombladezero, and I hope you guys liked it. I enjoyed it myself. And that will be time-stamped in the video if you want to come back later and watch it. And also, don't forget, when we get to this kind of stage of the stream where we're kind of past the main subject and the meat of the stream, you can use the exclamation point question or exclamation point Q. Those are commands you can use in chat. When you type that and then post a question, Nightbot will grab your question and submit it. That is for members only, so you can take full advantage of that. And I'm looking at the feeds here just to see if anything has happened in the story of the lawsuit with Sony. We kicked that down the curb a day. We're hearing there could be a Switch Direct. Another 500 bits comes in from Raven and helps the hype train. You guys are at 95% on the hype train. There's a minute left before the hype train expires. Roll it over to level 8 and keep it going. And another 600 bits comes in from Raven. Thank you so much. 1,000 bit badge. Let's go. There you go. You got the nacho chip. That's the way to do it, Raven. 45 seconds. So close to rolling it over. What are your thoughts on the job posting? I have a video on the channel and an entire live stream about it yesterday. That was yesterday's coverage. I don't feel like completely retreading it. Too long didn't read is everybody overreacted, and I provide ample evidence as to why. I don't just say, oh, I think people are overreacting. I literally provide evidence as to why people are overreacting and completely exaggerating the job posting. Thank you so much. Raven rolls over the hype train with 5 more members. YouTube is just sitting this one out all of a sudden. There it is. We go all the way to 42. It's 42 to 37. The hype train now at a level 8. Thank you so much, Raven. It's a 30-minute breakdown, Hellfire. That's why I kind of don't like when I put that much time into a video and that much research, like I don't want to be like, yeah, here's a reason to not watch it. You know what I mean? We've discussed it barely, Zuby. I want to do more research into it because a lot of the times when something like that drops, like a lawsuit like that drops, like within 24 to 48 hours, more information comes out. So that's why we waited a day. We decided to do a phantombladezero day today. And I feel like this experiment has gone rather well. We've been trying new ideas for live streams. One of the ideas for a live stream was to do reaction content where the show itself sort of centers around reaction. And I would say we got very favorable results today. We got a lot of new people to come in. We had good conversations and good vibes. I would say that's kind of what we're shooting for is, you know, can we just grab something interesting to me or a video, opinion, whatever, and react to it and create content with it and do it in a way that's productive and a new piece of content. So I've even said if there's videos out there you guys want me to react to, then throw them in the Discord and we'll consider it. An entire show about Destiny is kind of tentatively planned, and I got a lot of clips and I got a lot of tweets and I got a lot of things that I was going to react to about the state of Destiny right now. Stone Spire ETC showed up on YouTube. They're not trying to compete with you guys. It's 42 to 37. YouTube's just letting y'all have it. Would you support a Prototype 3 game? I remember Prototype 1 was developed by Radical and Activision published a second game. Not sure if Radical is still around. I've seen a lot of people say they think a prototype game would do well now. I think I agree. I think it would. I think those kind of games are fun. I like them. I think as long as you're getting creative with the mechanics, as long as you're getting creative with the way that like movement and combat flows, so it doesn't just feel like another game that you've played before, right? Like that's going to be one of the dilemmas that we run into with a lot of these open world, these action adventure games, these fighting games, even people talking about like the Soulslike situation are people getting Souls-like fatigue? I think like open world action adventure games people can feel the same level of fatigue with them, which is one of the reasons why I kind of celebrated the linear approach to Stellar Blade, the linear approach to Final Fantasy 16. What was a game recently that we heard was going to be more linear? Frick, what was it? We just talked about it recently, and I said I welcome that. I think that's great. I'm totally okay with a game being a little bit more linear. We don't need every game to be like an open world, like Open Zone. What the frick game was it? Was it Intergalactic? Hellblade 2? No. It might have been Intergalactic. And it's like, yeah, I like the open zone, where like you explore the zone, find the stuff, and then you can kind of move on. Like I don't need Mafia I think was another game that said they were going to be that way, and I was like, I fully support that. I like linearity? Linearity? Is that a word? I like a linear thrust where it's like pause. I don't like drowning. Okay, so did the hype train end? You guys got 30 seconds. Purple. You have 30 seconds. Linearity. There it is. I couldn't think of the word linearity. Yeah, I like some linearity to my games these days. I don't like constantly feeling this sense of like I'm drowning in this open world where there's icons everywhere. There's stuff to do everywhere. It can be a bit much. So open world games, I always end up doing more side quests than anything else. Yeah, and that I experienced that in AC Shadows. Cardoc Ren almost does it. Oh, that's bull. It should give you an extension. Cardoc Ren with the 5 spot almost rolled us over. You guys still have an hour left of the discount, though. So even though the hype train's over, you still are getting a discount right now on all gifted members as well. So feel free to keep it going. You guys are 9 away. I will owe whichever platform makes this hit 250. I will owe that platform 5 members. Thank you so much. They added new game plus to AC Shadows for those who are not burned out. Yeah, I mean, Zuby put in like over 100 hours, I think, in that game. I guess I'd be curious to see, like, is that something that he would, he would come clamoring back for? I'd be kind of curious. So, thank you, Cardoc Ren. I'll pay it forward. Well, thank you, Game Over Cholo. If you decide to pay it forward, I greatly appreciate it. You guys are the best. There we go. All right. I'm tired of being lost in games. It's a problem that I have in Returnal and pretty much every Metroidvania game outside of Ori. I don't like spending 30 minutes finding out where to go. Yo, thank you. A single gift that comes in from Game Over Cholo. I appreciate you gifting one and paying it forward for the gift that you just got. That's the way we like to run things here. And Cardoc Ren took it to 47, which makes this 48. It's now 48-37. YouTube is the most quiet I have ever seen them in this contest. You know what? I started playing Titanfall 2, only a little behind on that one, enjoying it so far. Great graphics look like they are from 2016, though. Hey, take it easy. Yeah, you know what I mean? You're touching something sacred there, sir. Better be careful talking about Titanfall 2. Haven't seen Godbreakers yet. Looks like a fun hack and slash co-op experience. I have not. Let's pull it up and take a look. Oh, it's right here an hour ago on my homepage. I really want an open world game to play with Madam. I really, really do. This could be it. Let's see. Okay. Like, I would love a game like Immortals Phoenix Rising to play with Madam co-op. Kaboom, boom, boom. Okay, we got up to 4 people now. Okay. Madam prefers shooting, so this one might be a little bit of a new one for her, unless there's somebody that you can play as or a way to play where you're shooting the whole time. This one's called Godbreakers. A little bit in that cartoonish, generic art style that we've seen so often. Linked Banner of the Spark, Wayfinder, those type games. Do we have a date? Do we have a date? Wish list now. There you go. We do not have a date. I'm gonna go to the store and see if we even have a hint. What? The link that they're providing in the store doesn't work. I don't know what the heck's going on. Tell you what, guys, I'm going to take a real quick break. I'll be back. We'll continue talking, vibing, and trying to get ahead on pace on members because we are trying to unlock that Saturday stream of Mario Kart. If you're a Mario Kart fan, Mario Kart World, that's what people have asked for. So hit the like button, hit all the buttons, and I'll be right back. I'm back. Purple Haze says, how is Twitch winning? I don't know. YouTube's just letting them have it. They're just letting them have the victory today. I don't know. YouTube's just kind of slacking off. I was going to wish list that Godbreakers game. Godbreakers PlayStation Store. Oh, Battlefield 6 playtest. It doesn't look like it has a thing in the store to click on yet. That's weird. It's like they pushed out the trailer and, you know. I'm reading something. Hang on. Okay. Somebody's just providing feedback on, I've been asking for feedback like on the content and, you know. It's a scam link. Lona doesn't read. Didn't I just say that? Did I not finish my thought process? I thought I said that out loud. There's a Battlefield 6 playtest scam link. Did I not finish speaking? Did I like interrupt myself or something? I might have interrupted myself. Sorry. I read it in here and maybe I didn't say it out loud. Yeah, there's a Battlefield 6 playtest scam link going around. Can't find it on Steam either. Yeah, I mean maybe they did it too early. They published the video and it just hasn't hit the storefronts yet or something. Wasn't Battlefield supposed to do a multiplayer reveal this week? Yeah. Yeah. When is that? You stopped speaking at test? Oh, that's my bad. That is my bad. July 31st. So that's Thursday. Yeah. We'll probably cover that again. We are going to, I think, stop requiring subscriptions on days where we cover a like particular game that might be a little bit outside of my wheelhouse. Like Battlefield 6, I'll probably play the campaign. That'll be about it. We'll probably run that as a members-only chat that day. There's just no point in making people sub to talk because then they just unsub. So we are going to take a little bit of a different approach. So if you tune in on a day like that and we're covering like a Call of Duty event, a Nintendo Direct, or like a Battlefield, it'll probably be a members-only chat just because sub-only seems counterproductive, but we also don't want to just open up the floodgates to just let anybody talk because that can be very disruptive. We figure that's a good middle ground. We're not always going to do that for live events, but for particular live events, if you tune in and you're like, why is chat members only? That'll probably be the reason. It's just not healthy for the channel to make a bunch of people sub to talk for a Battlefield event, and then they're probably going to unsub a day or two later because I'm not exclusively covering, you know, Call of Duty, Battlefield games like that. So yeah, there's a possible Nintendo Direct this week as well. Yeah. Thank you, Purple Haze. Gifts a member. Trying to stoke the fires here to get YouTube to answer back. We're now 7 away from the next milestone. Whoever hits it gets it. We're doing 5 every 50. Every 50 members, I give 5. Thank you so much. Make it sub only, but you have to be sub for a few days. That's kind of counterproductive too, because what if I've got some new subs or members from that week and then they can't talk? Like if somebody, you know what I mean? Like somebody subbed the day or two before that, got gifted a member, and then they can't talk. And a single gift that comes in from Stonespire. I know what Stonespire is going to do. This guy, he's super faithful at this. He's going to do 2. He's trying to get somebody to slam home a 5-bomb to the 250. He's going to do 1 more. So somebody get ready. Gear up and get ready with that 5-bomb. He's going to do another single any second. There it is. This guy, he's so faithful with this. Very, very supportive. And Raven's going to do a 10 bomb and steal it. Unbelievable. That's going to take us to 58. And he took us to 40. Raven pouring it on right now and stealing it again and breaking hearts. I tell you what, we don't always do 5 every 25. But if we get there with the 20 bombs, I'll sometimes do it. Oh, 460. There's a 5 bomb from AOZ. Little too slow from Mr. AOZ. And I owe Purple a 5 bomb. Right now, there is a discount on gifteds for Purple running for the next hour or so. And that is going to make it 45, but then it's going to be 46. It's now 46 to 58 because another single is going to come in from Charles. Thank you so much. The contest between the platforms is tighter than it usually is. Yo, it's good, Trey Gaming. How are you? My Steam Deck was the best purchase this year. Shout out to all my Helldivers. Yeah, that I've seen a couple of people in this community, I think, playing Helldivers on their Steam Decks. I think. Yeah, we've got a good community too if you're looking for people to play with. If I go to someone's live and they have a members only chat and I'm not a member, I leave almost every time. If there's a must be sub for 15 minutes chat, I will sub and stay. I'm gonna debate it in my brain because that's fair feedback. Our frustration is you get 50 or 60 new subs on a Battlefield event, but they're all gonna unsub. They're only subbing so they can talk for the event, and that's just not good. That's not good for the channel. That's an unhealthy churn. So we're just trying to think through that. Like, I don't like making somebody sub to talk in a live event about Battlefield. That feels a little bit silly, but you also don't want to get overwhelmed with like trolls and bots either. So it's a delicate balance. It's a delicate balance. Can't wait to spam. When does the event go live in the chat? Thursday? That's rude. That's so rude. People are always like, put a timer in the corner, Lono. And I'm like, we used to do that and they still come in and ask it. They still come in and ask it. Is Where Winds Meet a Soulslike? No, I don't think so. I didn't get into their test either. They must have been like, they must have been very selective. It is considered an action adventure RPG. Open world action adventure RPG is what they call it. So they're doing that playtest through August 1st, so we still could get in. I have yet to get a response from them. I did the one on their website, and then I did the other one through Steam, and I have not got in there. I missed the 90s. Everything was great. You missed the 90s. Everything was great. Purple says, I'm fairly certain Twitch is cheating on the gifted I'm inspecting. Good to see you over here, Purple. They're not cheating. Raven's just been cooking. She's been making very, very selective gifts at the right times. I have a lot more disposable income than I had in the 90s. Yeah. I in the 90s, I was in middle school and high school, so it was fine. It's not like a glory days I'd want to return to. It wasn't miserable either. It was fine. You know? There's a guy called Snake Eyes and a person named Raven. Suspect. Yeah, there's also someone named F-Cat. So we got, we got a motley crew over here, Purple. When is Lost Soul Aside out? August 29th. Check your spam folder for the invite. Wait, are you serious? Are the invites going to spam folders? I emptied my bank account for next month. Don't do that. Let's see here. Junk. When would it have showed up? It would have shown up. It would have shown up last week. Let me check my other. Don't forget that pork pie guy. You really got to watch out for pork pie, Purple. If you think Twitch is cheating to win the daily contest, yeah, you better just hope he doesn't start dropping member bombs, because he will. Okay, search in spam. Where winds meet. No. Zubair said effing pork pie. Let me check both of my emails here. I got a spam folder for both. No. How far is Twitch in the lead? It is 58-46. Twitch has a 12-point lead. And a 5-bomb comes in from Purple Haze and says, all right, boys. It's time to answer back. It's time to end this reign of terror that Purple has, and gets us to 51-58. Thank you very, very much. Did I hear Lono say something about getting to 275? I was going to, and then we blasted past it. I was like, well, if we get a 20, I'll honor it. I had to switch to 5 every 50. 5 every 25 was really hurting me. Did you hear or read what Shinobi said about the PlayStation job listing? I included it in my upload yesterday. I'm getting multiple questions from people about my opinion on something. It's a little concerning that it's coming from such faithful folks. Did it not put my upload on your homepage yesterday? We're putting a lot of work into those uploads, and that's a really huge aspect. Oh my gosh. And a 34 bomb from Pork Pie, and a 50 bomb from Mash, and a 10 bomb from Purple Haze. Unreal. I don't even know what to say. That is a definite steal by Twitch, though. Pork Pie did the 34 first. He got us a 300. He threw another one on just for good measure, but then 60 are going to come in from Team YouTube. Unreal. So 58 is getting 35 added to it, so it's 93 now. But then we've got to add in another 5 from AOZ, and a renewal from AOZ is going to take the member count to 367. But hang on, I got to add 66 to the 51 to the 66, and it's 117 in the member battle, and there they go. They just left you guys in the dust over there on Purple, but there's more coming. There's more pain. Oops, there's more pain coming here. Hang on. What did I do here? 117. Oh, wait. 117. Why is it doing that? There we go. I've got more coming in. Hang on. Goodness gracious. And then a 20 bomb from Mash and a 20 bomb from Purple. Jiminy Christmas. You guys are so cruel. They really were doing well. And a 5 bomb comes in from Cobra Kai. Let me delay the unpleasantries that are trying to hit you guys. 162. So that's another 45 on top. So that's going to take the member count to 407, and then the 412. 412. Am I doing the math right? Did we really climb that fast? That quickly? I feel like did I add that wrong? That will teach Purple to have hope. Oh, yeah, because we climbed to like 367. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Well, you guys are definitely on pace to unlock the Saturday stream now. Goodness frickin' gracious. Well, the platforms, Pork Pie, I don't think you can do this. I don't think you can do this today on your own. There's just no way. Purple Haze says, stay in your lane, Twitch. They really were doing great, man. Purple was bringing the heat, you know. And our sub points dropped a lot over there, so we need it. We need to bounce back over there, you know. We're trying to unlock. If you guys help me get to those higher sub point thresholds, they increase our payouts. So that's a goal that we have on the channel right now. If I go to the Plus program, currently we need 250 points to get to the next level. So that's a lot. That's right, YouTube. Show them how it's done. This birthday is awesome. True SSJ Havoc truly getting a nice birthday treat today. He asked for it, and he certainly got it. Tell Madam to warm up those thumbs. Oh, for the Mario Kart thing on Saturday? If we can pull that off, that'll be such a great send-off to have like extra content for you guys. And then it's actually really helpful because a bunch of people get memberships right before I leave. So then when I come back, they'll all still be members. And so they'll be able to get into, you know, all the extra content that we do for them. So thank you guys so much for doing that. That's extremely helpful. Taking a break is always a huge bummer, but it's very helpful when members can kind of get piled in the door right before I leave. Because then we come back and we're like, hey, you're still a member. You know? Sorry I can't talk much today in a conference. Y'all have fun. Thank you, MASH. Really random, but does Nintendo still make and sell a joystick like they did back in the day? Thank you again, MASH. You're freaking crazy. You and Purple just went absolutely bonkers. I don't even know what to say. You guys are nuts. Thank you very much for the generosity. I don't know if Nintendo makes a joystick anymore. I mean, PlayStation's got theirs coming out, and I believe that was announced around the time of Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls. So, yeah. I'm not actually sure. Does Nintendo make one? I don't think that they do they? I don't even know if they have an audience that would really want one now. Like, does the fighting game community orbit or play many games on Nintendo? I don't know if they do. Been thinking of getting one for my Survivor likes, so it's on my mind. I would love a good... It's such a bummer that Deep Rock Galactic Survivor it is number 1. It's not on console. Number 2, it's such a bummer it's not co-op. Purple says, sorry, Twitch, it's not you, but it's you. We just got to 300. Well, we got to 367 almost instantly because of... You got us to Pork Pie. You got us to the 301, and then Twitch. I'm sorry. Then YouTube piled on with like 66 members, and then they threw another 45 on. That's how we did it that quickly. It was like I blinked and we were suddenly in the 400s. Why don't you just play it on PC? I'm not set up to really play casually in here, like in the evenings. I don't want to come in here and sit in here and play. I want to sit on my couch, and I've got a really nice PC in here for when we want to play PC games, but they play Smash Brothers. Would people playing Smash Brothers want like a joystick? Wouldn't they want? I feel like they'd want a controller. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I feel like the joysticks were more in the traditional fighting games as opposed to a brawler. You know. Seriously, thank you all, and Purple too. Thank you so much, True SSJ Havoc. I appreciate it, man. It's not even the same button layouts for Smash. Yeah, I don't think that would be much of a match. I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but to me, I would think there's just not much of a draw to have them. So, Brother Fab, thank you so much for jumping back in. 51 months says, I had no idea you were back on Twitch. Great to see you. Yeah, we've been back on here since April. Yep. I was emailing Dan Clancy, and he kind of looked into the situation, and he welcomed me back, and I appreciate him doing that. It's been huge to be back. We did go through a name change, so a lot of people a lot of people lost us when that happened. We actually had a big viewership dip after the name change. We were Reforge Gaming TV, and then we dropped the TV. So, and thank you, Brother Fab, for 51 months. I appreciate it. Tell all your friends, everybody that used to watch the Destiny content, that the Lono's back. Yeah, formally say no to Rage, but yeah, I've been back for a while now. I wonder how Deep Rock Galactic Survivor would be using in home streaming. It's not really a quick Twitch game. It would probably be fine. But I would really want it to be co-op. I get why it's not. There's just probably too much going on for the engine itself. So it's a bummer though. Because it could be really, really fun. It's a good grind. It's good. It's a really, really good Survivor. Not survival, a good Survivor game like Vampire Survivors, which can get a little confusing when people ask. So, I don't know if my internet is acting up or if we've just both chats are not. Is it my app? Is my app broken? It doesn't seem to be. People either use Pro controllers or N64 for Smash. Okay. No Sony Tencent lawsuit talk. I think we're going to do that tomorrow. Creature and I sort of debriefed on the phone, and it was like a lot of the times when a story like that breaks, new information will come out in the next 24 to 48 hours. So instead, we just decided to do a phantombladezero reaction stream. So it was good. It was a fun time. I probably would have cut it short, but the vibes were good. People started going crazy with Gifted, so we've just kind of like let it ride. I was going to cut it short because, sometimes videos like this are better if they're shorter, but y'all just started bringing the heat, so. N64 for Smash, he meant GameCube. You know what's funny is I read in Nintendo 64, Chris F., and I pictured in my brain the GameCube controller. Like, I literally pictured the GameCube controller in my head. I was like, that's... Because I know I've got friends that play, and that's what they prefer. And I was like... I just read it and did not picture the N64 controller. I didn't even call him on it. I was just like... Just read his comment. Like, I knew what he meant. Three. I think Zubair was just putting random text in chat to stoke the fires. Chaos Theory says, I know this is primarily a gaming channel, but what you think of the Avatar Fire and Ash teaser? I didn't really watch it. I mean, I've not even seen the second one. There's a second one, right? Something with water in the name or something? I didn't even see it. It's really hard for my wife and I to watch movies, and lately we've been doing movies in like multiple sittings. It's like one of the only real ways we can do it. And now we've decided we want to kind of like work our way through Tom Cruise's movies because she likes him. And there's a bunch of movies that I haven't seen that I feel like I should have seen. So we started with The Outsiders. And I think we'll have to pull it up and take a peek and see what we feel like is the next one worth watching. There's a handful back there that I've never seen. No Sony Tencent talk tomorrow either because the Xbox ROG is $5.99 and $8.99. World's gonna catch fire. I don't know if we'll really cover that. I've honestly taken a bit of a step back from really wanting to cover anything Xbox unless we feel like we absolutely have to. It's just not been enjoyable to cover that brand that much. I don't know. Don't want to open old wounds, but I really hated you getting banned from Destiny. But looking how things are now, you definitely outgrown your old self. You look healthier, happier. I'm happy for you. I appreciate that. Nara. I mean, I've always told people if they're going to come back around and support me with a membership, a subscription, or viewership, they're free to ask questions. There's a lot of stuff from back then that people are confused about. There's a lot of people that are very uninformed about the truth. So we don't like to fixate on it. We don't like to get bogged down by it. But I think it's completely fair if somebody wants to come back and be like, man, what the frick happened? I have been willing to answer questions about it for the past 5 years. I haven't shied away from that, unlike the people that were dishonest and lied. They won't talk about it because they can't keep the story straight anymore. I have no problem talking about it if people feel like they need answers. I think that's fair. I obviously am not going to dedicate shows and content to it, but I think it's fair for somebody to be like, hey, I don't really feel like I've got a full picture on certain aspects of things that happened. I've been willing, to do that. People will obviously come in and yell terrible things at me on either platform just because that's what they feel like they need to do. But so looks like the ROG Ally will be $599 and the X will be $899. I think that's the pricing of the current models now, isn't it? Isn't that the current pricing structure? Like, it's just going to mimic the current pricing structure. I don't think anybody should be all that surprised by that. So $900 for a handheld and the PS5 Pro is a scam. Yeah, there's just no real reason to entertain discussions that are designed to be a waste of time. Do you know what I mean? You're not dealing with anybody that's interested in having like a logical, like measured discussion. So like that's why I just don't even feel like broaching some of those subjects. It's like it's literally a debate that's designed to be a waste of time. It's bad faith. It's dishonest. It's like it just isn't worth it. It's like, I don't know. It's like jumping into the mud in a white suit because you really want to talk about how to clean clothes. Like, it just doesn't, it's so counterproductive. You know what I mean? It's counterproductive. Like yesterday, when we talked about this PlayStation situation, I just kept telling people, like, I mean, you're free to think that, but I'm not compelled. I don't think I've seen a compelling argument yet. You're free to put a compelling argument in my chat. And is anybody surprised that basically nobody did? I mean, it shouldn't surprise anybody. None of the hardcore PlayStation guys showed up and made compelling arguments. None of the Xbox guys showed up and made compelling arguments. Like, a lot of it it's just rooted in either knee-jerk reaction or, bad faith. It's like, I would prefer just to approach it that way from now on. I also would just prefer talking about games. Like, I feel like we've had a great day today just talking about a game, looking at the gameplay footage and analyzing it and having a conversation. And, heard you mention The Outsiders. What a cast. Impossible to get that many stars in one show. A few years later, they were all characters reviews. Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody from, Karate Kid to all of them. Jiminy Christmas. Like, it was absurd, like, how many were in it. Like, even some people who are barely in it. Like, Tom Cruise is barely in the movie. He's barely in it. Patrick Swayze's not in it that much either. I like that we are moving away from talking about things that are no longer serving the community good. I prefer discussions about things that people like rather than what they dislike. Thanks for 21 months, Neems TL. Well, we obviously are just analyzing what we're doing with the content and what we're doing and what we're trying to grow. And I just don't think you're ever going to grow a community around what essentially are like squabbles, like little immature squabbles. As much as I tried to do it, it just was never productive. I would get irritated. I would get flippant. I would throw very inflammatory language around because I would just get so tired of it. It's like, you know what I mean? And there are people here that are highly educated that started expressing the exact same exhaustion with it. It's like, You know, imagine going to school, getting multiple degrees, and you're like a lawyer, or you're like a, you know, a well-to-do professional, and you keep coming in and hearing people like, well, they don't have any games, me, and it's just like, it's like an insult to everybody's intelligence to indulge in it. You got 400 people hanging out of varying degrees of, you know, intelligence and maturity, and we're sitting here bickering with just foolish stuff. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It just is pointless. You know? That's why with the PlayStation thing, I just approached it very matter-of-factly, very calmly. I was like, I think people are overreacting. Let's look at the evidence. If you've got your own argument and your own evidence, you know, present it. Zero connection with 19 months. Off topic. Any word on God of War Horizon TV series? I haven't heard any noise. There was a recent thing about the God of War TV series in my timeline. I didn't look at it, though. God of War, not Gears. I knew what you meant. Varying degrees of intelligence and maturity, the best summation of Lono's audience. Well, we have people who are mature, but you wouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to go for them for legal advice, right? We've got like highly educated people who are like in the legal field, doctors and, you know, highly educated people at like high levels in their business. And then we've just got your average everyday Joes who are just mature enough to be like, this is stupid. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you can have a level of intelligence just within your own maturity where you're like, this is dumb. Why are we debating this? And that's why I was like, I just don't think what we've been doing is productive. Triple H has been cast as Kratos. There are people that were suggesting that for a while, that he'd be a good fit. Yeah. People act like a game getting ported is a personal slight. I understand identifying with the brand, but those console war days are over now. Well, I do think there are people who are in the discussion that are being good faith, Siryu. And I think what they're saying is their concern or their prediction is this is the beginning of the end. You're going to harm the brand. You're going to harm the products that I purchase. I think they're overreacting, and I don't think there's evidence to warrant their reaction. They're free to feel it, think it, predict it. I'm not compelled to join them because I don't think there's ample evidence to be like, yeah, this is it. This is all over. A month ago, you know, Nishino says we're not changing strategy. Herman Holst outlines the strategy they've been outlining for 3 years. Just a month ago, they do that. And people are like, but a job posting, though. And it's like, boys, let's settle down. Like, let's just settle down. And if they start signaling to the shareholders the things that we saw that Xbox did, I'll cover it, and I'll express the concern and the worry. I don't feel the need to do that right now. I don't think that's confirmed. No outlets are actually reporting it. It would be a terrible cast. Oh, if Triple H got cast? I feel like the guys in wrestling are actually pretty good actors. No offense to people who watch wrestling, but I mean, a lot of those guys have gone on to do things outside of wrestling rather well. Your video is suitable for all advertisers? Oh. Well, thank you. We uploaded a short on phantombladezero. That's why it got capped all of a sudden. It was doing really well, and I was like, wow, that thing died quick. They must have been reviewing it for monetization purposes. So, if you guys haven't watched it yet, let's, I'm going to throw the link in chat. If you guys like watching short form content, give that one a watch. Let's, like, give it a boost. Like, they just randomly decided that it needed to be reviewed, and it killed it. It killed it. Like, it was doing really well, and people were enjoying it and interacting with it and leaving comments. And then it just flatlined. And I was like, whoa, what happened? They were reviewing it for advertising purposes. So my first version of it, I think they did that because I said in like the first 5 seconds something about snapping necks or something. And I think they just if within so many seconds of a video you're doing something or saying something, they'll ding you. Did you put it on the talk? we've got some stuff that we've been meaning to put over there. I don't typically do shorts, but now I did the PlayStation third-party short, and then I did that short. And that one, I think, could do well over there. We don't really, like, our main goal is to treat YouTube like the central hub. So if I'm going to make content like that on the fly and throw it on YouTube, that's where it's going. I don't have time to be like, okay, let me also go over here. I know it's only a couple of minutes, but like it is really intrusive for me to make content on the fly because I'm usually with my family. I don't think the question prompt is up. You did it backwards, SSJ Havoc. You have to put the exclamation point question at the very beginning and then type your question. Did you see John Cena's interview on Jolly? Where he had breakfast American style and UK style. I haven't laughed so hard in a long time. I was crying, perishing even. I don't know if Barrier's around. My daughter has requested multiple times that somebody make her an AI of a dog on a skateboard. Oh, we're not going to get the super chat goal. 2 out of 5, 30 seconds. I was like, what is counting down? Oh, I mean, I'll answer your question. You said, is it bad that I sometimes pop on Minecraft to chill and waste time? No. No. Games are there to serve you. What kind of dog? Husky. Always. Or an Alaskan Kleekai. Yeah. Husky or an Alaskan Kleekai. Those are her two favorites. We should probably go to Green Room, though. We should probably go to Green Room because it's not great to be on phantombladezero gameplay reaction, like, in the search funnel and be not talking about it. So if you did just find this stream and you're looking for that, I'm going to add a timestamp because we are getting pretty good results in search, and I don't want to burn that goodwill when YouTube's being nice to us again. Does that make sense? Like, it's really counterproductive for us to be right now with this label and thumbnail not talking about phantombladezero. So I think we need to move on to Green Room. We've had a great time and a great day. And if you guys enjoyed this and you want more content like this, suggest videos for reaction in the Discord. If you want to come with us right now, you need to be at Member Plus and above. This is a great opportunity for you to upgrade. I know a lot of you guys are going to go over to Twitch because you can currently watch Green Room on Twitch. That eventually will go away. And keep in mind, I do this full time because of direct support. We're not always going to have people like Purple Haze and Mash and Pathalon Phoenix and Raven going crazy with gifteds. So if you can pick up your own membership on Twitch or YouTube, that is an immense aspect of what we do here. And I know this commonly just falls on deaf ears because so many people are like, I'm going to go watch content for free. I get it. That's fine. YouTube is full of great content and great YouTubers that you can go watch right now for $0. If you enjoy these shows, these daily talks, the vibes, the Save for Work, and that it's such a consistent show Monday through Friday, that $6 a month goes a long way to help us do this. It's a cup of coffee a month, and you get a lot of extra content. I did get some feedback today, though, about how maybe I'm making too much content, and we're going to maybe talk about that in the Green Room. So that was some feedback from a user that you're not going to get to be a part of if you don't come to Green Room on a Member Plus. I'm scheduling it right now, and let me set up redirect, and it didn't set it to Member Plus. Let me fix that. There we go. Let me double check that it's saved. Okay, perfect. Okay. Alrighty, toddy, let's get this going here. Oh, pew, pew, pew. me see something too. I want to see if they've given us any new options when we schedule this stuff. Yeah, I can't say not to publish this in... I was just seeing if they gave us that option. They don't. Because we're still running into that problem of, like, if you're seeing members' content on your homepage, that's not me doing that. I am sorry. All right, there's the video. There's the video link that you guys need on Green to go to Green Room on YouTube. All right, thank you so much for being a Member Plus or a VIP. We're having a great week. We're only 2 days in. You guys are already well ahead of pace. You're going to unlock Friday night like it's nothing. We are trying to double this week to be a send-off. I will be out of town next week. If that hits 1,000, we'll do a Saturday stream. We'll do some Mario Kart community game. And let me end the previous stream and bring people over with Redirect. Redirect seems to have been doing a little bit better sometimes, so